4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys,
Nice
welcome
intro.
to-
Now you got to change it.
Why?
Changes in personnel.
I'm gonna leave it as is. It doesn't matter. Because I can edit it and like do it every episode. It's so time consuming. But what's up, Zax? What's up, Stephen? I don't know if there's anybody else watching right now, but welcome, one and all. We're here to talk about a little Blade Runner and hopefully give you some information about stuff that maybe you didn't know about. One of the things that T-Shirt wanted to talk about was the landscape, which, of course, if you know anything about the landscape of Blade Runner, you know that that's Sid Mead. And Sid, when he came into doing Blade Runner, was the guy that wanted to do a clean future. He liked clean, perfect. He liked that science fiction where the future was perfect. Whereas Ridley was a lot like George Lucas in that he wanted it lived in, retrofitted. He wanted old buildings with new shit on top of it, building over it rather than tearing it down and building up new stuff. And part of that was because his idea of the future was that people who were living on Earth weren't living in the lap of luxury. Those people left the planet. If you were on Earth, it was almost like a sentence. You're kind of stuck here. And it was kind of talked about in the book, too. Characters like, J.F. Sebastian in the film had a different name in the book. I forget it right now. But in that one, he suffered from a mental thing. They called him a chicken head. And because of that, he wasn't able to pass a test to leave the planet. Whereas in Ridley's world, it was more like it was about money. Financial status. T-Shirt, your thoughts?
Well, what can I say about Blade Runner? It's like, the Ridley called it, in my opinion, obviously, because the gritty, grimy, dark, wet look of the Blade Runner world is actually kind of what I think things really do look like and will look like. But more importantly, the neon, all the digital advertising, the oversaturation of electricity, lights, and all these things. This is all stuff that defined the look as we know it of cyberpunk and future dystopia. And it still colors it to this day. There is so much cyberpunk out there. And it is, in various forms, and it looks like Blade Runner. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure at some point the creator of Neuromancer, William Gibson, saw Blade Runner, and this was just before he had written Neuromancer, and he saw the film and said, "Shit," because that was the same future he'd envisioned, and it was already there on screen. So,
yep. And I remember reading Neuromancer, but there's no question, the background I'm using right now with the big, billboards. We have that now, animated billboards, building size, where they just put all these different screens and it's just one huge ad. We actually have some of that stuff. The only thing we really don't have is the flying cars, the way they're depicted, but we have something similar to it. And it's, as I said many years ago when I started the fan club, was that all you guys that are like wanting to know about the flying cars, you stop asking, because if they do come around, you'll never be driving unless you're law enforcement, government, or working for somebody that's specially licensed to be flying them. It's just you're never going to see the average person or a truck driving around. Like, good God, trucks are dangerous enough. Could you imagine them being over you on a highway?
I don't know. Believe me,
It'll
on
never
some of the
happen. Safety issues would never allow it.
Oh, I don't know. On some of the highways, when they get choked up with traffic, especially on the up and downs of Texas highways, I really do wish that trucks could fly, just so A, I wouldn't be behind them, and B, they wouldn't be behind me or next to me or anywhere near me, because, you know, if they throw a tire or something like that, you know, that's like a, 50-pound tire coming through your windshield, and you're fucked. So
yeah, and you know, because you know, I'm a very big supporter of the trucking industry, because if you've got something in your house, food, whatever, items, it got to you by a truck at some point, you know, and so they're important, but they're also very dangerous on a highway. And I heard a trucker once say, as long as the car gets past the cab, I don't care what happens. And that terrified me. I'm like, oh my God, you know, because a lot of the automobile accidents with trucks are usually getting hit by the trailer. And so I always found it very dangerous. And I always wish they had their own highways.
Oh,
but
Curtis
then I
YZ?
learned, what's that?
Oh, we got a comment out here in the chat. It's like, yeah, I just found out that Dolores O'Riordan from Cranberries died 2 years ago.
What?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah.
I remember that. That was terrible.
You need Blade Runner content to make you happier? I don't know that Blade Runner content is going to make you happier.
It's so bleak.
It is.
But, I see Kaylee's here. Hi, Kaylee. Let's see. Zacharad is here. What's up? And, of course, Curtis is here. Nice to see you, Curtis. But when it comes to trucking industry and the highway system, I've had to explain to my daughter, you know, she goes, I wish trucks weren't on the highway. I said, here's the funny thing about the highway system. It's not ours. It was designed specifically by Eisenhower because he got frustrated during the war, when they were trying to transport military equipment across the country, they get slogged down in the mud and stuck. And so he planned from the very early days of World War II to create a highway system one day, or be the man behind it, which is why a lot of the highway system is referred to as the Eisenhower freeway system. And good old Ike is the guy behind it. And it was specifically made for the military to be able to transport. We just get to use it for free commerce. And we're lucky in a lot of ways that we get to do that. It's one of the liberties. The military brings about so much good shit to us in our lives, in our daily lives. Microwave machine, shit like that, all started in the military and then became something that's in our house or in our lives. A lot of the stuff in military vehicles have been brought forth into commercial vehicles.
Don't forget the DARPA net.
Yeah, DARPA. But let's see, what's Stephen's? Let's go back over here. Help, yep. And help, yes. And no worries, Curtis. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you know, it bummed me out when it happened. Big Simi almost sandwiched me. Oh yeah, almost sandwiched me once making a what? Yeah. Trucks can be really fucking scary on a highway. I don't like being next to them.
Yeah.
And when I do get next to them, I'm quick to get the fuck around them. I'll go as fast as 100 miles an hour just to get around a truck.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever want to get caught in that blind spot. And they do have blind spots.
Oh yeah.
But that goes back to Blade Runner, which is, you know, Blade Runner, especially if you read the comic book that was done by Marvel, which we'll talk about that a little bit later, it shows all sorts of vehicles on air freeways, and it's like, no, it won't happen that way. It'll just be government law enforcement, possibly military, and certain private companies may be allowed to do it because of air traffic reasons. Air traffic would never be able to handle civilians flying. It just won't happen. But we do have the Moeller car, which really it's a plane. It folds the wings back to where you can drive around with it and then put the wings out, and it's push prop. And there are other ones too, but they're all basically variations of the plane or helicopter. And as Gary Willoughby jokingly said recently, we do have flying cars. They're called helicopters. Let's see. What did he say? Let's see. My grandfather from 1948-51 hauled dynamite by mule through the mountains to build the Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado. Yep, that's very true. Very, very true. Let's see. Yep, hail. And Kurtz, yep. So yeah, and welcome to the chat there, Mad. If you've noticed, it's just T-shirt and me. That's because Tom is doing an audition right now. Because remember, he is a TV and film actor, so he's got to get work. Parrothead, what's up, brother? I haven't seen any of your fucked up memes in the last 24 hours. You need to send me some more to make me laugh. You've got the Wake Down. He's in the middle of move. Shit's going on in his life. And Ian couldn't be here because his dad was hospitalized over in Scotland. And so he's with his pop in the hospital. And of course, I'm sending out all my good vibes. And Stephen Utton was let's read that again. Stephen Utton was a very awesome role model for me growing up. Who are we talking about? I lost track.
He's talking about his grandfather.
Oh, grandpa. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't have 6 here anymore to run the chat, so I can focus on what I'm saying. I'm a very narrow bandwidth person. I do one thing at a time. I got to find somebody. Anybody interested to run our chat while I do the show? Hit me up in private message over on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm going to change the background because I want to show some of your cool art.
Oh, cool.
I almost said your real name. T-shirt does CG art through what program do you use?
Daz.
Daz. There you go. Look at that. Actually, you know what? I need to bring him up in the foreground. Where do I do that? I can do that over here. You grab him and open. And I'll drag him in here and I'll put him over us so people can see the cool artwork. That one's yours. These are 2 of them right here, and I really like these 2. The first one, this one reminds me a lot of Ghost in the Shell because it's got the military spider thing.
Yep,
fucking
like a Tachikoma.
And I like that alleyway. And of course, the tunnel is a shorter version of the LA tunnel, which is one of the single most used landmarks in the history of cinema. Is that tunnel in Los Angeles, and I've been through it quite a few times. And so let's get back into the landscape. Let's talk about some of the landmarks. You know, the Bradbury Building, Union Station, the Warner Studio backlot, and the tunnel are some of the most famous, as well as the what is still called, but it's not called this anymore legally, but it's called known as the Ennis Brown House, which was also used in the film with Vincent Price, House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah,
for the exteriors, all the interiors were a movie set, and they were just awful.
Oh yeah, it was also used in The Rocketeer, but not in the way you think. What they did is they actually took castings of the bricks from the Ennis Brown House, and they built that mansion that the Timothy Dalton character hangs out in.
Yeah, based on Errol Flynn. Yeah,
based on Errol Flynn, and That is, I mean, that's amazing. But I mean, that Ennis house is amazing. That with the architecture and the brickwork and everything, and they translated that to Rick Decker's apartment, and it's just, oh man, it's so iconic.
If
It
I'm
gives
going to
that,
go ahead and pull it in here,
yeah,
um,
it gives that apartment such an iconic feel, you know.
hmm it really does. And I'm going to grab a picture of it right now, so I can share it with everybody. The house we're talking about that was used in Blade Runner and all those other films is this house. It's a little bit right now in partial disrepair. They're trying to fix it up.
Mm-hmm.
After it was the Ennis Brown house for decades, it was sold to someone else who didn't quite take care of it. And so there were some real problems. They're going in and fixing it. They hired a proper architect to fix what was created by, I just forgot his name, greatest American architect.
Talking about the guy who made it, or?
Yes.
Oh, that would be.
I can't believe I'm drawing a brain fart.
Yeah, me too.
I want to
Frank
show
Lloyd Wright. Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah. He's like my favorite architect of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell I'm getting tired when, or as they say, when I'm getting tired, I'm tired, and feathered.
Tired, boss. I'm tired.
And oh my God, this interior is what they based everything in Deckard's apartment on, and this is just gorgeous interior.
Yeah, look at that. Whew.
Vaulted ceilings, as Frank Lloyd Wright referred to that, the vaulted ceilings as living space, where that was space that he said is alive. So you actually feel that open space, and he wanted stuff up there for you to look at and to gently entertain your eyes, and it had an impact on the sound. And everything in a Frank Lloyd Wright house is designed by him, including furniture and windows and light fixtures, all hand designed by that guy. He was a fucking genius. He really was.
Hey, Force of Light.
Let's see,
See y'all.
Force of Lights, you're high.
Curtis asks us a quick question. Do y'all consider Man in the High Castle part of the Blade Runner universe? I honestly don't. No,
it's not. It's like I disliked it when they tried to connect Blade Runner and Total Recall. Mm-hmm. I look at all of his universes as different universes, Philip K. Dick. They have their own little world, and they need to be separate. And Blade Runner does have a universe, and it's been shared in other films. One of those films, a lot of you don't know about, and this is part of, I guess, what we can talk about with the all of the things connected to the Blade Runner universe in media, which is a little film called Soldier with Kurt Russell and Jason
and
Statham.
Alien.
Alien visually doesn't. It's only in the extra bonus features that it gets connected, and it kind of bugged me. I wished he'd put it more in the movies rather than in the bonus stuff, because I've always thought that would be neat if they were more closely related. But Soldier is referred to as a sidequel to Blade Runner, and the reason you know that it's connected is because when he lands on the dump planet, and he's walking into where all the other humans are living. There is a parking meter and a spinner from Blade Runner, and it's marked with the proper police markings from Blade Runner. And that's because David Webb Peoples, the co-writer of Blade Runner, wrote Soldier.
Yeah, if there's any Dick universe that probably is closer to Blade Runner, it
sounds funny.
It does, doesn't it? It might be the Electric Ant, but
it's just Normie. Yes, yeah. And Parrot had mentioned Soldier too. There we go. Outland is very similar in production style. I don't think that was an accident, but it came before Blade Runner. It also looks very much like Alien. And that was, like I said, not accidental. Monkey Jeebus, what's up, brother?
And it may just be a fact that, a lot of these productions shared the same guys working on them, as much as anything else, but also the fact that, like I said, Blade Runner was the trendsetter for a lot of this stuff. And it's like once everybody got to look at how the visuals on that and how stunning it looked, they were just like, oh my God, we gotta replicate this in some way. And you'll see it in just about any kind of dystopia film, even the bad sci-fi crap films from the 90s, like Nemesis and stuff like that with Dawn the Dragon Wilson, has a distinctly Blade Runner look. It's endemic. That is what people consider to be cyberpunk,
Yeah,
or future dystopia.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Here, I'm going to show something real quick. Here we go. Loading up, and boom. If you can see that, that's the spinner from the movie Soldier.
That is cool. I'll have to go back and watch Soldier.
Yep, and on the other side of it, there was I caught a glimpse of one of the parking meters. I think that's actually it right there, above the red ring. That looks like one of the parking meters right there from Blade Runner.
Hey, we got Culture Casino in the stream. Hey.
Oh, hey. What's up, Culture? If you love Blade Runner, you're welcome to join us. I'll send you a link. Just let me know. And in fact, any of you guys, just Normie, if you guys are big Blade Runner fans, let me know. I like having people on here. We're all friends that love to talk about Blade Runner. You say Blade Runner. And I don't know if anybody caught my joke today. I'm gonna go ahead.
He said you Blade Runner.
He said you Blade Runner.
I just do eyes. I only do eyes.
Yeah, I've always thought it was funny when he left that message for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what a weird message. So I put it down there. Do you know why Chew wasn't a team player? And Keith says, there's no I in team. I only do eyes. So that was my little joke for our little thumbnail today.
Oh, it'd be awesome if we could ever get James Hong on the show.
I actually have started the work of trying to contact him. Because, these guys are all getting up in age, and I would like to have as many on the show to interview before we lose them.
I wish we'd gotten Rutger, but
yeah, Culture Casino is committed.
Yeah.
I've said that for years. No. Let's see. He said you Blade Runner. Yep. Hell, Stephen. Yeah, everybody loves Stephen. There we go. If you only could see what I have seen with your eyes. Rest in peace, Rutger Hauer. Amen to that. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, look up my farewell video I did to him through Pop Culture Minefield, because he was something else. He really was one of the nicest people.
I think half the success of that character in that film and the critical re-examination of that film over the years has happened because of Rutger and everything that he brought to that role. Because it's like, Ridley had his first idea. He had all these different ideas for Roy Batty, and it was Rutger that kept on changing things and making it better. It's almost like Rutger had a better sense of style, at least as far as his own character went.
And if you know the story about when he came in for meeting Ridley, he was wearing the most outlandish, multicolored outfit, and he had a scarf, a thin scarf, bright orange and pink. And he had big Elton John glasses on. And Ridley was like, what in the living fuck?
Yeah, he'd already dyed his hair and got it cut that way.
But he'd already gotten the part.
Yeah.
So it was the first time they were meeting, and it was funny when you read about it. It's in Paul Salmon's Future Noir, The Making of Blade Runner. You can find that little section when he talks about Rutger going in for the first meeting with Ridley. And let's see. Rutger was a great actor and already dyed his hair. Yeah. And I think, yes, he did. He had already done all of that shit, and it was perfect. Nobody embodied their role better in that film really than him. He just, cause they're all great. Don't get me wrong. But God damn, Roy Batty was Rutger Hauer.
He was.
And Rutger Hauer was Roy Batty. Is
a
character that you can't separate them. So much of himself went into it. It was just fucking beautiful.
We've said this about other actors and their characters before. They bring so much to their role. They live in that role so much that when you see someone else try to take on the mantle of that role,
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work because they try to put that character on like a suit of clothes, and I'm like, it's not a suit of clothes. It's the guy's skin. You
Well,
can't
it's
wear
sort
another
of
man's
like
skin.
back in the late 70s, going into the early 80s, Jack Nicholson and Robert Towne were trying to do the sequel to Chinatown. And Nicholson was starting to get older. And there came a point where Harrison Ford was brought in to possibly play the part of Jake Gittes in the sequel. And it was like, I was like, immediately, I love Harrison Ford. That is not going to work for me. Jack Nicholson is the only Jake Gittes. The character is practically written for him. And so it caused a permanent rift between Robert Towne and Jack Nicholson. But Jack Nicholson took over making the film, became the executive producer on the film. Towne walked away from it, didn't want to work with Jack anymore. But we finally got a sequel, and it had Jack Nicholson. It was perfect. I love the fucking movie. The Two Jakes, great fucking film.
Yeah.
But sadly, because of that parting of ways, we would never get a third or a fourth film.
Well, sequels are never as good as the originals anyway. So,
and by the way, here in Joplin, Missouri, we have a Zorro Road.
Oh, we do. You do?
It's really weird. I've been meaning to take a photo of it. It's like, wow, that's fucking crazy. There's a Zorro Road. And we're going to try to get her on the show with Paul because those two are like chums. And I've known her for a long time. But I think it'd be great to have her and Paul on at the same time.
Well, one of the roles that's played in that film that is definitely iconic and the best performance of that person's career, bar none, hands down, had to be Sean Young playing Rachel.
And it's
understated.
Yeah, it's sad that she had so much trouble as the production went on with Harrison.
I think that added to her scene with him, though.
Well, definitely for that scene where they're lovemaking.
Yes.
And which really came across more like a fucking rape. It was, it's very, because he even puts that heartbeat in there. Ridley does that to add stress to a scene. He puts in a heavy, low bass heartbeat. He did it in Alien. He did it in Blade Runner. He did it in Prometheus. And I think he even did it in the last one, Alien film.
Covenant,
yeah. I think it's for stressful scenes. He puts this heartbeat thing. And
I'm trying to forget Covenant and Prometheus. But...
Yeah, they're not very good films. I mean, they have moments. They have really good moments. They have entertaining ideas. They're visually great to look at.
Yeah.
But they're dumb.
Yeah.
They're nothing like the first Alien film because he established one of the most horrifying things in Alien is that even if you do the right thing, you're still going to die.
I kind of think he's lost the magic in a lot of ways because it's like all his early films where he was younger and hungry and really, wanting to try new things was great. But now it's just kind of like he keeps trying to walk around back in his old shoes. And I'm like, dude, they don't fit anymore. Just throw them away. Get something new.
Yep. And, but Ridley is notorious for not always having the best scripts when he starts shooting. And so some of his weaker films start out because he's not really a storyteller director. He's a visual director. He's very good at the visual stuff, and which is what's mesmerizing about his work. Blade Runner in particular. Blade Runner's story is really weak. Some of that's not his fault, though. That's also Tandem Entertainment's problem because they were the executive producers. That was Bud Yorkin and Jerry Parenchio because they kept firing him and cutting budget. You went over, so we didn't get the Mary scene that we wanted. She was one of the replicants that he was supposed to find in a closet dead. And the film wasn't complete. It really wasn't. There was stuff that was left out. And it led to some of the problems structurally to the Blade Runner film. But to not call it a masterpiece, it would be just stupid. because it's still a fucking masterpiece of a
It
film.
absolutely is. It's one of the reasons why we're still talking about it all these years later.
Yeah, 40 some years later, and here we are. We're still talking about that fucking movie. Hey, the Memes of Destruction is here. What's up? Thanks for showing up, dude. Thanks for all you guys showing up, man. I deeply appreciate it. Forgive. Yes, forgiveness is given. Can you see anyone else playing the Night Inlet? Fuck no. That was Rutger Hauer all the way.
It was.
Love that movie. In fact, I probably wouldn't have even liked the film if it hadn't been for Rutger being in it, because he made the film, you know.
Yeah.
And I hated the soundtrack. I'm one of those people, you know, that whole move to do rock soundtracks at the time worked in some places, but for me, that is a fantasy film, and it should have had more fantasy music in it.
I can definitely name a bunch of Rutger Hauer films where the entire film production was improved just by having him in it.
Split Second, Jesus, that was a dumb movie, but I loved it because Rutger was in it.
Blind Fury.
Oh my God, his performance! That was
Omega
awesome.
Doom. Omega Doom is a terrible film, but he was fucking great in that.
He was great in it.
What's
that other one? Blood of Heroes.
Blood of Heroes was an insanely good film and underrated as hell. I'm still trying to get a hold of a copy.
How has this not been like a blockbuster? What
I know.
A great fucking movie. And it had one of my favorite Asian actors in it.
Joan Chen.
Yeah, just great
and
movie.
It had a young Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yep, he was in it. I remember showing somebody a picture of him in it, and they're like, that was it. I'm like, yeah, that's Vincent right there.
Yeah, as Parrot points out, Juggers, Salute to the Jugger is what it was originally called. And they have released a really good Blu-ray cut, but it's only in Japan. So I'm going to try to get a hold of an international playing Blu-ray player so I can watch it. Because if you've seen the uncut original version, Salute to the Jugger, it is a bit different from what we got over here in the States.
Oh, I want to see that then.
Yeah, like the ending is completely different.
I want to go back to this. No, it doesn't count. It does not count. What's a Blade Runner? Okay, Steven.
Yeah.
Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yes, Hobo with a Shotgun was a fucking great movie because of Rutger.
Weird movie. You know, because like, again, I'm going to say this. I wouldn't have liked it if it had been anybody else. Because I just didn't think the film was that great. But he makes it great. You know?
Yeah, I even have this tiny little film called I think it's called Breeders, which is it's loosely based on an H.P. Lovecraft property, and it's got Rutger playing like a doctor in it, and I'm like, you made this film, dude.
Yeah, he was in one film where he was hiding out in somebody's walls and attic. I watched that. It was a made-for-TV movie for like Showtime, I think, or Skinamax.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in some real turds, but I'd still watch him because fucking Rutger Hauer, man.
The Hitcher.
The Hitcher is a classic, dude. I got pissed and I'm friends with the guy in that film. And I was mad that they remade that. I'm like, nobody can do that character. That was Rutger Hauer's. No one will ever do it the way he did it as well. Nobody can do it better.
And even Nighthawks was good despite all the bullshit that happened on that show.
I own that movie, and
me too.
Fucking love that film. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, what kind of shit happened on it?
Evidently, they had all kinds of production problems with directors getting fired and everything else. So that's kind of why the film is a little disjointed in places. But not that you'd really notice it so much.
Yeah, because that is clearly not the wife at the end. Is like, Rutger, why did you even think that was the wife? That's Stallone in a wig.
Yep. Well, Stallone's not that tall, so
actually,
maybe.
The second season of Channel Zero was very interesting. That was a weird season, but good. Rutger, again, made that fucking season. I wish he'd been in more of it.
Yeah.
Original Hitcher, definitely way better than Sean. Yeah. Let's see. Hi. Parrot?
He's talking to Parrot Head.
Yep. And but the fact is anything, like you said, anything that Rutger touches is that much better because he's in it. And it really kind of sucks that we're not going to see anything else with him.
I know.
I just purchased this last movie. I haven't watched it yet. I don't know why I do this. I won't watch people's last movies. because it will bum me out.
It's the end.
But more, I think it's because they're still alive, sort of, if I don't watch it.
There's that. But I was kind of the same way whenever I first started reading Robert E. Howard books, or I should say short stories. Because, I picked up a big book of Robert E. Howard Conan stories, and I started reading it. And
hey, Tom,
it took me months and months to get through it. And my friends would say, well, why are you still reading the same book after all these months? I said, well, because I'm enjoying it. I'm rereading some of these stories that I've already read a couple times. I'm savoring all the details and everything. Yeah, but don't you want to move on to another book? Well, maybe, but here's the thing. Robert E. Howard's not putting out anymore. So, there's no reason to be in a rush.
Exactly. And first of all, everybody, welcome Tom Conkle.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
I'm not going to ask what you auditioned for, but did it go well?
It went well. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Got it uploaded.
That's what
Tom,
I like hearing.
I got to fire a question at you right away.
Sure.
Okay. We were talking about the influence of the look of Blade Runner on all future noir,
yes,
all cyberpunk and everything else. So I want to know how much of Blade Runner influenced you on your movie.
Oh, a tremendous amount. I studied the lighting plots in it. All of those scenes in the office where you see a light sweep over. I actually went back and looked at the DP was Jordan Cronenweth on that.
Mm-hmm.
And
his son. Yep.
Yes, and he used rotating mirrors on it. They were on little bungees and on string. So I did the same thing, and I had people actually on the mirrors to accent certain lines. The light will sweep and kind of burn across the eyes and the mouth when they're talking in Trouble Is My Business. And that was a technique from Blade Runner where they would sweep the faces, and get that kind of hot look across the eyes or across the face to really underline a line or just make you feel like there's movement in the light. And Blade Runner was not only an influence on me in that, but almost everything I do, because it was the first time that for a film made in 1981, it not only still holds up, as a production design, but also the immersive quality of the used future look in it made me really rethink In Trouble Is My Business. I was like, you know what? The costumes have to be right. They have to be wearing period appropriate stuff. It needs to feel like around the corner, something's happening in this town. Even if it's the 1940s and we're reproducing it, we need to feel lived in. So I think not only the attitude and the cinematography, but even the art direction in Blade Runner was certainly in my mind. It's one of the most influential films on me I can even think of. My first student project, I did this film, which embarrassingly is called Rogue Hunter, and it was about hunting Nexuses that were more advanced than the Nexus 6, and I even found a way of putting a stick with a nail on it, and I found just the right kind of laundry bin that had the slats in it that were just like the slats in Blade Runner, and I would spin that thing and shoot a hard light through it right before I'd film, so you get that pattern of light on the face, like the way Harrison Ford had it on his face when he was in Spinners or when he was looking out a window. I did the same thing as a kid, learning how to play with the environment and make it interactive with the character. And again, that was a big Blade Runner thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, huge influence.
Well, I had a feeling just from looking at the noir influence in your film. I figured, man, he had to have seen some Blade Runner to get some of this, because Blade Runner was
right.
So future noir.
Yeah, it is. It's such a beautiful future noir, and it captures it in such a great stylized way that it was very much in my mind. When I went through it with the DP, I would design the lighting plot with him, and we would literally look at how Blade Runner was lit. And if you look at it carefully, you'll appreciate it on another level. The edge lighting that comes in, there's always a hard light behind, and the soft light that comes up, like the scene where he's getting briefed on the mission. You get that blue light just drenching their face, but a hard light. You'd have a cigarette or some smoke that created kind of ambient light around them. That all was in my mind when I was doing Trouble Is My Business. Trouble Is My Business is, definitely has its lineage go back and straight through Blade Runner, because for me, it re-informed me on how to light a film, but also just the mood of Blade Runner was so cool that I wanted to try and touch it.
Yeah, there's some scenes in your film where you're running across a warehouse and you can see this blue-white light
Yes.
in the background shining through the windows, and I'm like, damn, that looks like that came out of Blade Runner.
Yeah. It's called a quarter blue. It's a real steely blue light, and I love that because it evokes a nighttime cool feeling. In fact, the whole palette, I started to go with this cool palette of blues and saturated hues for nighttime to evoke that, and then the much warmer amber tones that like they used in Blade Runner for interiors, because everything's tungsten lit and you've got all this uplighting and stuff. And I even have some things where there's mylar. You know how they use like pieces of mylar in Blade Runner? That's that reflective material that gives you almost the feeling of liquid and light. That was very much in my mind.
Well, and I wanted to point out that the inspiration for a lot of the lighting itself was from Vermeer.
Yep, very much so.
In fact, one of the photos is almost that was in the film where you see Roy Batty sitting in the chair.
It's a Vermeer,
on the wall.
Yeah.
That gets put in the Esper machine. Was deliberately lit to look like a Vermeer painting.
Yeah,
and I just love the use of the backlighting against walls. But there was something else it really did to create atmosphere was a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
Which was a complaint that a lot of people had of working with Ridley.
Yeah. Well, back then, misters had oil-based smoke, and it was it was a mist. It wasn't smoke. It was actually a haze. It was a hazer. And when I first started acting, I had to act in hazed rooms, and you would just get it coated on you. You know, it was that Tony Scott, Ridley Scott look. Your clothes were drenched in the oils, all of that stuff, and you were breathing this sort of haze oil. Now they've changed it. The hazer I used is a water-based haze, but it gives the atmosphere and density that you really need. If you watch In Trouble Is My Business, you'll notice when he's in his office, the air was bad in the 1940s in LA. It was a justified haze, but you'll see sort of God rays and God light coming through the actual blinds, but also there's a heaviness in the air of uncirculated air because they didn't have central air conditioning. So I have that fan that's rotating, and that fan was very much influenced by the end chase scene in Blade Runner where Roy Batty's chasing him and they have that giant vertical fan that's going. There's that same fan. It's put on a thing called potentiometer, which slows the fan down below its effective rate, but it looks good on film. So slowed that fan way down on a potentiometer, and it rotates like this, and it's over my shoulder when I'm looking at stuff on the desk and things, and it just gives movement and play in the atmosphere, because you get the feeling, oh yeah, they're pumping air out of this thing, because LA back then, the air was terrible, no central heat, you had your window open, so you had this density in the air, and I really tried to catch that because Blade Runner had done it so well, and we didn't have to use that oil-based hazer that Ridley immersed all of his actors in the 80s, and certainly Tony Scott, if you watch anything all the way up to Crimson Tide, that is the oil-based hazer.
Yeah, and I'll show some pictures here, which is
look at that.
Was in Zora's dressing room.
Yep.
And then the one you're referring to directly right there.
Mm-hmm. That type of fan is actually projected on the back of Roland Drake's wall in his office. And if you look at that light, can you put that one back up of Zora?
Yeah.
Zora, look at that. Now you've got a very hard light behind her, and you're getting that cheek line. You're getting like separation from that. But look at that beautiful soft light flooding in up over her face, and that little bit of uplight behind her.
There's a little bit of light down below her.
Yes. The light is below her, bathing up into her face. Now, if you were shooting a movie, anytime in the 70s or 80s before that, you would have had a hard light hitting her face. You would have had a little bit of fill and just, spill off, and then light the entire set. But he took it down to chiaroscuro lighting. He took it down to like Vermeer, like you were saying, is the play of the key is behind the character, pushing them, into the frame, and you're seeing their sort of edge light, and then you're getting this beautiful light bathing it in, and it evens out everything. It just every frame is like a painting. It's beautiful. I was striving for that. I didn't get anywhere near it with Trouble, but I strove for it in every shot, because I told them, I was like, I want every shot. If you still frame Trouble, it should at least be interesting in some way. It should at least try to be painterly, and you should feel the environment. There's one shot I'm really proud of. It's got a whole bunch of moving parts in it, and I put it together with Mike Smith. It's where Drake breaks back into the bedroom of the Montemar family, and he's going into Jennifer Montemar's bedroom, and she's in this beautiful silky outfit, and it's edge lit, and the curtains are blowing out, and then he's edge lit, much like that. She's in bed, he's in silhouette over her, and it has 3 layers of lighting going on inside of it, the way Ridley would light it, and then outside of it you've got moody clouds and stuff going on. It's one of my favorite. I don't know if you remember the shot, but it's where Drake walks in and he's sort of standing in shadow in the long coat with the fedora standing over her, and you see the beautiful curve of her body. And it's definitely a Blade Runner shot.
That's a
Hello,
classic.
everybody. Thanks for welcoming me in. Yeah, thank you. It's great to see all of you.
Yeah, oh, Tom's here. Hey, Tom.
Hey. He knows that guy. Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's like Tom's the bomb diggity-o.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hello, Stephen. I see you in there, too. And, yeah, it's great. Thank you for having me.
Monkey Jeebus.
Monkey Jeebus. There he is. Stephen.
Everybody saying hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Thanks for welcoming.
Tom Connors.
Yeah, I think what really informs you a lot about Ridley's vision on that film, more than anything else, is the fact that you can walk into downtown Kowloon now, and it looks like Blade Runner.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. He was way ahead of his time.
He was.
He created a layer cake. I always call it a layer cake. It's all these different ones inside, and you can enjoy it for different reasons every time you visit it. And he got things on the mark. I mean, he had futurists like Sid Mead and all these looks, and I see pictures now on Instagram of, Hong Kong or various areas, and I'm like, that is Blade Runner. It looks exactly like Blade Runner.
And, I often wonder, is that because he predicted it, or was it inspired by Blade Runner?
That's true.
I don't know. It might be a little bit of both. Art influencing science and architecture, just the same way probably 2001 was influenced by real science, and then science was influenced by 2001. It's that's when you're firing on all cylinders, is when you create something, your work, your art, or whatever, and it influences the real world in a way that is directly in that genre. He literally is influencing architecture. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
but thank you for that question about trouble. I study. There was a time when I was going to film school. I went to film school in the 80s, and I watched Blade Runner at least once a week while I was in film school to get inspired, because there was always something new that I found. There was always something that I could learn from it. It was pretty amazing.
So I got to ask then, I think I've asked you this, or somebody's asked you this before, but I want to say Blade Runner with narration or without?
I can't believe I'm saying it, but without narration. I know, the thing is, I think I'm of the show don't tell. I don't think there's anything in the narration that I don't pick up from immersing myself in the actual imagery. I get what kind of character Bryant is. I get what he's doing when he's sitting there. It doesn't give me enough insight, and it isn't noir uses an unreliable narrator sometimes, or at least an ironic narrator. And because there isn't enough of the narration to really make it a through line, I would have to dismiss it in favor of not having it if it was me. I totally understand people that do like it, and in fact, it was recommended by Billy Wilder. Who am I to argue with Billy Wilder? He watched the film, they showed it to him. He was very old, but he had done Double Indemnity and and Sunset Boulevard, and he said, try it. But to me, I didn't miss it once it was gone. And some people love it. That's one of those where show don't tell works for me, and I use a kind of unreliable narrator in mine, because the real time of the movie that I made is the only time it's happening real time is they're in the car driving to the cemetery. So his talking to his friend becomes the voiceover, and the beginning, middle, and end of the film actually happen inside of that loop. It's a loop within a loop within a loop. It goes back to what happened leading up to getting in the car. It goes to forward to what happens in the car, and then it also unreliably tells the story from her point of view, from Lou McDonald's point of view, his partner, who's in the car with him. So I tried to have various points of view, with that one little arrow of time being the one that they're in the car. So the voiceover in Blade Runner for me just didn't reveal enough, and I don't know that it needed it, but I don't have a huge problem with it, to be honest with you.
I like both, to be honest.
My preference is actually the 1982 version with the narration, but because it had a different feeling to it. Whereas I do love the final cut.
There's no bad Blade Runner, let's be honest.
No, there is. Even the work print is great.
What are we arguing about here is like,
there's no argument.
Right.
It's just
Gary's right, and T-shirt, you're
preference, but it doesn't mean I don't like. It's sort of like, what's your favorite whiskey? Irish whiskey? All of them.
What's your favorite piece of gold?
The Irish whiskey. There's no such thing as a bad Irish whiskey. But here we go. Let's talk about some stuff, because I was talking about this a minute ago. This is the LA Tunnel. It is the single most shot real location ever used in film.
I go through that tunnel all the time.
I've been through it quite a few times myself. I love LA. And I love this tunnel. It's so. There's so many fucking 2 Sem Peckinpah movies used it. Fucking love that tunnel.
It's a beautiful tunnel. It's so evocative.
And it's right around the corner from Union Station, which is really
that's right
too.
And by the way, a piece of trivia: Trouble Is My Business. The scene at the end where he gets a note from my character that goes to Lou, and he opens a locker box. It's shot in the exact position of the office in Union Station in Blade Runner. That shot is Union Station. He's standing. I asked the tour guides and people when I got permission to shoot there, where did they build the thing, that shows
it's right in front of the bathrooms.
That's exactly where we shot. So that's my if you look at the end montage where he sent a note if something happens to him and his buddy gets it in the locker, that we're shooting in Union Station right there. And in that I'll have to find that
This is the restaurant area right here. Because my daughter and I really enjoyed eating there. What the area you're talking about is actually with that photo is that way. I'm pointing for the camera, that direction. From that goes into the ticket area. If you were to go left there, and I love that place. It's so gorgeous. The vaulted ceilings, everything, and of course in the film here it is. Boom. And the camera is right above the bathroom area. And in this photo, if you go through that first archway and turn left, that's the eating area where the diner is and everything. But this was closed off the last time I was there because they were doing renovations. So it really sucked. I couldn't get in there. I got pictures of it, but I couldn't go into it.
Oh, you couldn't?
Nope.
Yeah.
Now, another location is actually not a location, but it's the Warner back lot.
I recognize that. There.
It's been used in so many shows, movies. It was created in the 30s for all the gangster movies, so they could do New York City streets. And then, of course, here's the first shot. That corner piece right there. Boom. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, it is.
Dressed up.
Look what a great job the guys that did the construction on that, like the carpenters and the art direction people and all the stagecraft that went into making that place look so different.
Now, if you look up there in the top part of the picture, there are 2 pillars being used. One over by the JVC sign. There's a pillar there. And then there's a pillar over on the left. Both of those are used several times in the film. The one on the left was used for the bike scene where I'm assuming they're Chinese because of their hats. Were riding their bicycles, and right before Roy and Brian go in to choose. And so the pillars were getting multi-use, like the pillars out in front of the Bradbury building, which we'll get to later, were used in several scenes.
Oh, can you jump back for a sec? I want to point something out. Okay. The one thing I really love about this is the fact that if you look at the pillars and you look at the building structure and everything, that is classic Art Deco
Yes.
building design. And yet it is married with technological influences. Like you can see all the metal stuff that looks like it is more of a streamlined modern.
Mhm.
And it's designed to all go together with the neon and everything else. It's very retro future. And I love that so much.
I do love that. It's amazing.
Different angle of the same street. This is called Anemoid Row. This is where all the animal manufacturers run their things, from the Fish Lady
Yes.
to
Yes.
Hassan is to the left there. And when I see this photo, I think that is Sid Mead, that little tiny person there standing against the pillar, as I recall.
Yeah.
But I can't prove it, but I think someone told me that was Sid Mead. Another shot of Anemoid Row from the different angle with that fucking bus way in the background. The vehicles made Blade Runner. Some of them were futuristic and some were past being retrofitted themselves with shit all over them. Fucking God, the design. What Sid Mead did, to take a city that exists and build something over top of it because it needed to be retrofitted.
Yes.
That's some
beautiful.
brilliance right there.
I found that the scene that we did in the station. I sent it to you in your DM on Twitter. I think
in the chat.
if you want to show that, that is the angle and the shot from my film. That was it felt great.
Monkey, you missed it. We were talking about the Innes Brown house earlier. Even though we call it the Innes Brown house, that's not what its actual name is anymore. That's why it's in disrepair, because somebody else bought it and they didn't take care of it, and so they're now having to do repairs on it.
By the way, Monkey, I agree with you about the color versus black and white version. I always intended it to be black and white. It's hard for me to see it in color too, but I had to make it work. And I think the guy who, Mike, who did the color timing on the color did a really outstanding job. It's not his fault, but it's supposed to be a black and white film. Yeah.
Where is the link you sent me? Did you send it through Twitter or on here?
To Twitter in the
Let me go.
DM group.
And I tossed you a link also in the private chat that you can use for something else.
Save image as.
I think that you can really see the influence there. And there was
It
one
is
other
not letting
shot.
me save that as. Oh, you son of a bitch! It's not letting me save it as a JPEG, and it has to be a JPEG. So let me go. I will do this real quick. Paste and take a photo of it. Boom. And capture selected area. Yeah, this is goofy that it's doing this, but shit happens.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get it into the chat.
No, I got it. Don't worry. I now have it, so I can add it. Branding, add photo, and there it is. And
there it is. So there we are. Yeah. That's
now,
where he's
right over his right shoulder is the bathroom.
Yes.
That it was where Bryant's office was.
That's where the office was. We were in there. You can see that beautiful light in there. Got in there at night, put some light outside those windows to get some definition. Only one of the lights up there in the ceiling actually worked. So I had to bounce a lot of light up in there. You can see that one in the upper right. The light was working. The rest is light that we created.
Right.
But yeah,
that may have worked for your film better, though.
I like it, though, and I like the lighting on the guy. Would you use barn doors to focus that light?
Yeah, that light is focused down as a slash on him, and then you'll see over his shoulder there's a little bit of edge light that brings him out. Just to
I always
light up
loved the way they lit Shatner.
Yes. In the original Star Trek? Oh, my. That is
put that
brilliant, right?
And
you can tell when the DP left the show. The DP, same guy shot the first 2 seasons. When he left, it got all flat and not as good. But I put another shot in there, and I know
Shatner was like, I wish they'd bring him back. I wish they'd
bring
really good.
Yeah, made me look really good.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
and
I love the way it made it feel 3-dimensional, and I love the use of the colored gels and stuff. It was shot like a film, like a mini movie. I put another shot in there, and I know it's a pain in the butt to do it, but talking about building a scene on the street, this was a more digital solution, but I had to create it at a museum where a car, that I could actually use a real car in. I had to build out LA from there, and so I created all these layers with Mike. And that street level shot is also in the DM of Twitter, but that again is the same thing as Blade Runner, building out a world that looks lived in. Like you actually see the cable cars driving by that used to be in LA. You see all the signage and all the neon that used to be there. And that again, because T-shirt had asked me, that was in my mind as a Blade Runner influence when I created that scene right there. See how
oh yeah,
layered
look at that.
and on the right hand side, those cable cars are going by. Those are designed the way they were in 1947, and you can see
And
these
are CG models, CG Street.
Yeah, these are CG models, CG
Good
Street.
job.
Yeah, there's over 2,000 polygons in each one of those, and it's millions of different light directions and renders and stuff. And you'll see
I noticed the theater you have there sure looks like the $1 Million Theater.
Yes, yeah, and it's playing Build My Gallows High, which is the book that Out of the Past and Against All Odds is based on as a movie. Is based on that thing. So I actually have the book.
You and I talked about that before, that we're both fans of the original film.
Yes.
As well as one of the few remakes that's as good as the original.
That's why I put that up there. Build My Gallows High was the book, and I was like, you know what? There's only one book that can be up there. It's got to be that. So that street level there, you can see I tried to do a layer cake. That was my poor man's attempt at reaching the kind of density that Blade Runner had.
And Gary, if you'll hit that link I threw you in the private chat. You can post up that picture. You'll see something that's pretty cool.
There's Rebecca.
Hey, Becca.
Let's take a second because I want to talk about this. Rebecca's in our chat. She has a new campaign up to help her deal with this expense of having to repair the plumbing in this place. It's an $3,800 bill. She just started the campaign, or somebody did it for her, I hope. And you can contribute over there, and please share. I'm going to try to share the screen real quick. I apologize. I usually have two monitors. I only have one right now, so I got to do this old school, and it's very annoying. Share screen. What? There we go. Share. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, this is her page. You can go here and please help her get this plumbing done, because if they can't get this done, that's the end of the shop.
Oh, no.
And she's already been through hell over getting this place going.
Yeah, well, definitely. People do what you can. Definitely.
Exactly. I will post the link into the chat, and there we go. Rebecca, we love you. You're such an awesome person. And so this is stuff that usually Six would do for me, and now I'm back to doing these things instead of talking. So here you go. There's the link to her GoFundMe. Please help her out. And because here's the law. I mean, first of all, a lot of these Midwest and Southern states have fucked up rights for renters. Missouri is really bad. It's a landlord state. So is the state she's in. And she's having to repair what the landlord should be forced to repair. So because it's a tattoo shop, it's supposed to be, everything's supposed to be clean, and including hands. And so she has to have a hand cleaning area. And right now they don't have hot water. And that,
they don't have any pipes that are working.
Yeah, it's just, so let's help her out. She's amazing, and one of my favorite people. And so
absolutely,
we love you, Rebecca. Hey. And I said that just so I'd make you cry. I hope you cried. But let's see, where were we?
The private chat link.
Bradbury Building is where I was headed next. And
I was hoping you would check out the link I posted for you.
Oh yeah, I'm so trying to make
I
sure
know.
that we cover the things that I wanted to talk about on the show. I will do it though. Yeah, there she goes. She said it.
Yep, she's
You're
crying.
amazing. You did make me cry. I fucking knew I made her cry. But it doesn't mean I don't mean it, because I do mean it.
We do.
I'm just mean. I'm this nice guy who's kind of a dick.
Well, we love you for it.
But let's see. Branding again. I want to go to. This is, of course, one of the most famous interiors. It goes all the way back to the Outer Limits for me.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
fucking
Even
love
with the
this
glass
building.
hand, right?
Yes, that's right, with Robert
Mhm.
Culp.
Right.
And
Remember that.
it's just such a wonderful building. The exterior is not as fancy looking. And I'm trying to find a good picture. Here's a good picture. This is the actual exterior. And it is just not as interesting as what Ridley needed for the interior. He wanted the exterior to match the interior. So that's the real Bradbury Building. And what he did was, if you see the right-hand side where that little arch is, that is where they added everything on for the street. The pillars and the awning, the big stone awning. And then right across the street from that is the $1 Million Theater.
Yeah, those
And
3 big iconic pillars that they put outside that building looked so.
they don't
It made it look
exist,
so different.
But they were used in multiple scenes in Blade Runner. You can find every pillar in that film was used multiple times
Mhm.
throughout the film. No money was wasted. And I do want to find a $1 Million Theater. I want to get a picture of it. There it is. This, of course, sits right across the street from the Bradbury Building. So it's as connected to Blade Runner as anything else is. And it's a beautiful building. And it's even more beautiful on the inside. I've actually been in there, and it's got, again, vaulted ceiling, chandeliers and shit. There you go.
Hmm.
Yeah, look at that.
That was built during the silent era. And
Yes.
so therefore they put a lot of fucking effort into design.
They call them movie palaces back then.
Yes, they did.
Mhm.
God, look at that. And the funny part was, the movie that you see the title of that's mentioned in Blade Runner on the screen, that's actually Ridley's wife's movie that was showing across the street.
Oh, that's great.
I don't think it was a student film, but it was an indie film that she had done.
Uh-huh.
And I remember reading about that in, of course, Future Noir by Paul Salmon. Fuck you. Tim Possible, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, Tim?
Hell, Tim Possible. And yes, of course. Yeah, we all have to have each other's backs. I'm not even going to, because T-Shirt showed mine on his show. I'm not going to do it here because I wanted to focus the problem that Rebecca's doing. Going through, not doing, problem that you're doing, because she's going through some shit that shouldn't be happening. If she'd had a decent landlord, it wouldn't be fucking going on. But that she's being forced to repair these pipes, put pipes in for plumbing, that's fucking unheard of.
Yeah.
As some people would say, it's fucking barbaric, mate. It's fucking barbaric.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who that was. And of course, she's thanking Stephen. But let's get back to Blade Runner.
Yes.
And let's talk a little bit about the expanded universe.
Well, let's check out the private chat real quick.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Hold on, let me go back to that private chat. Which am I clicking? That.
The top one.
Oh yeah, this is. Let me save this image. Save image. Oh my God, why can't you guys send me JPEGs? Nobody fucking sends me JPEGs anymore.
I figured you'd do a share screen or something. And
no,
be
it's
quick.
too hard to do it on this damn thing.
Oh, okay.
With one monitor, I have too much trouble with it. It's just not worth it.
You guys with your 2 monitors and all that are just ridiculous. I've been limping along with 1 monitor just fine for years and years. Oh, Zax has a question for you, Tom. He says, could you tell us about what he's working on right now?
Oh, a couple things. I just finished a an action script called The Red Circle, which is kind of a modern telling of the Arthurian legend, but done as sort of Goodfellas. So it's a Goodfellas version of Camelot.
Cool.
The red circle is the table, the round table that they have as a circle of blood. I just finished that. I'm working on a science fiction film called Island in the Stars that will have Vernon Wells in it and be kind of.
Vernon's going to be in it? Oh, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have 2 other movies. One called Meth Gator, which is a horror comedy. It's kind of a Coen Brothers take on Jaws. With meth gators. I mean, it's meth gators. So those 3 are ones that I really want to do as the world starts coming back here and we can start filming. I'll probably get going on one of those towards the end of this year.
Very cool, dude.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm sorry. You guys keep talking.
Okay. I was gonna save this question for after, behind the scenes, but I did want to know what working with Vernon Wells was like, because he just seems like he's so cool.
He really is. He lives up to the rep. He's a tough guy, and his work ethic is extraordinary. But he's also, once you get to know him, and you can give as good as you get as far as kind of teasing each other. He's a great guy. He's man's man, but he's upstanding, and he really loves film. He loves acting. He threw himself in 100% on what I was doing. There's a couple scenes where I had to trust him implicitly. I got to know him pretty well leading up to making the film. We spent some time together talking about it. He had a lot of good questions about his character. He approaches villains as the hero of their own story, so he really wanted to know, is like, well, if you didn't do anything, I mean, how would I win this? So I was like, okay. There's some scenes where I really had to trust him. I have my hands tied to a chair in a scene where he's punching me in the face, interrogating me. And I mean, he's a pro. He's throwing punches that I feel the breeze go by, and he's very intense and very focused on it. And then the minute it's done, it's back to Vernon, and he's like, okay, let's do this. And he's joking around. But what really impressed me about him is after the movie, his follow through, we've become friends because he wants to make more stuff. He loves genre films. He's very upstanding. He has a great, kind of work ethic. He's like, look, let's make this happen. So it was really a gift getting to work with him. I'll tell you a little story about him. He's the first person I ever met that was in the business in LA when I moved here. I moved here in 1989 and from Virginia. And I was working Christmas help at Circuit City as a kid and in Van Nuys, and Vernon walks in. This was just after, Weird Science had been out. Of course, it was only a couple years after Road Warrior. And so I run up to him as a kid, and I'm like, Vernon Wells. And he kind of looks at me like, yeah. And I go, I love your movie. And one day you're going to work with me on a movie. And he looks at me in my Circuit City outfit, and he goes, yeah, right. So flash forward 26 years, I'm sitting in the chair tied down, and I go, Vernon, when I was 20 years old, I told you we were going to do a movie together, and here we are. And he's like, what do you mean? I told him the story, and he's like, you got to be kidding. It took me a little while, but I ended up getting him in a movie, and I thought that was hilarious. You could not write that. You could not write that. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, Red Circle is going to be badass. It's
a lot of love towards you right now.
Yeah. By the way, Script Doctor.
I don't know why you're kind of okay.
I'm kind of. By the way, Script Doctor co-wrote Red Circle with me. He's the main writer on that script. I met him through Midnight's Edge, and we ended up corresponding in real life. And then he's an exceptional writer, and so Red Circle is our first collaboration.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love Scripty. He's super smart.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he's one of the few people I let read some of my stuff before it gets published.
Yes.
And and I'm always happy when he says that he likes my writing. So
thank you, Stephen. Yeah, that's awesome. It's nice to have somebody to put to your kind of sounding board that you trust, who has similar taste. but also gives you notes that are actually constructive, which would be script
Exactly. I mean, what's the point of talking to a good writer unless they're going to do that?
Yeah.
Here you go. This is what you shared. I finally got it.
Yeah,
Nice.
look at that. That is
That's amazing.
Kowloon
That-
now, 2021.
That's Blade Runner. That is
Yeah.
Blade Runner. It's
He
amazing.
said, "You Blade Runner."
Now,
Yeah.
that's a good question. I wonder how much of that influenced it, and how many people on that street, and how many people who designed it would go, Blade Runner, what? It would be interesting to find out if there was any influence there.
Now, here's a picture of Vernon Wells, because I'm a big fan of his too.
There he is.
And that's from Commando and from The Road Warrior.
That's right.
And that's a film where we got to see a lot of his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And he laughs about that every time. That's how they saw him. They went to a live show. George Miller, who's the director of Mad Max and The Road Warrior, went with his wife, and Vernon was on stage naked doing this play, and his wife and George Miller's wife's like, "What about that guy? This guy right here, he's fearless." And so apparently they got him, and he's like, "How about assless chaps?" He's like, "Yeah, okay,
Fuck it, mate. Let's do it.
It seems right."
Yeah. And I want to point out that I've always considered him the Australian version of William Smith.
Oh yeah, very much so.
They're so
They could be
similar
brothers.
in everything they do. They could be brothers. Their physique, their badassness.
Have
And
they
of course,
ever
we
been?
just
in
lost
something?
William Smith a week ago.
Have they ever been in something together? I don't think they have.
No, I don't think they've ever done anything. And I'm like, somebody should have, before we lost him, had them play brothers.
Yes, that would have been genius.
But Vernon is like one of those guys, because the last thing I remember seeing him in was Shrimp on the Barbie.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yep.
And I loved him in that film. And I'm like, fucking love this guy.
Yeah.
And nothing. Just nothing in America. Didn't get anything else with him.
Yeah, he has the best sense of humor. He's a great guy. He's having a bit of a renaissance. He's filming something right now. If I can get him in this Island in the Stars film, it's his bucket list role. Like when we were talking, he goes, "I really wish I could play blankety blank type role." And I kind of looked at him like, "Are you punking me right now?" And I go, "I've got this thing called Island in the Stars, and you are that kind of role in it." And he's like, "Let's make it," And it was exactly what he wanted to do. So he works all the time.
Here, somebody asked this question, so I'm going to share it.
Sure.
This is Kowloon in the 1980s. Uploading right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm friends with Kjell Nielsen, who played Lord Humongous in
Humongous.
Mad Max. Yeah,
That's great. Is he a nice guy?
Yeah, he's super nice. He is he's really full bore too when he talks about stuff. But I asked him, I said, how was working with Vernon Wells? And he said, "Oh, he made me so mad. I wanted to kill him, but I love him. He's my brother."
That sounds about right.
Here you go, Monkey Jeebus.
Yeah,
you asked,
look at
there
that.
you go. This is Kowloon in the 1980s.
Mm-hmm. Look at those cars, man.
Yeah, those cars are amazing.
So, let me get that out there. Yeah. See, yeah. Let's see if anybody knows who the fuck we were just doing an impression of, you and I. I got to keep the number of images, so I got to delete them. But any other? I wanted to get into the media, all Blade Runner and other media. So basically, in the 90s, we finally got a sequel, and it was an odd sequel, and the Blade Runner partnership had no say over it because Philip K. Dick had already had a contract agreement with K.W. Jeter, who wrote 2, maybe 3 sequels. I only read 2, and the first one was okay. The second one went way out in the left field, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
I have not read those. What's the first one about?
Well, they are a mixed sequel. It's partially a sequel to the film and partially a sequel to Philip K. Dick's book.
Yeah.
So there are elements in there and names from the movie with elements from the story from the book. And it was just a bizarre read. And K.W. Jeter is a good writer. Don't get me wrong. That's why Philip K. Dick liked him and had made the agreement that if I die, you can write more Blade or do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep, and or whatever name it's under. And so the partnership tried to put a stop to it, but the rights were clear that he had a right to write any number of sequels, and he did. And they made some good money off of them, but they were just so weird that I don't think they became popular for that reason.
Right.
And but my favorite moment was in the first sequel. It was just simply called Blade Runner 2, and it had the actual human that Roy Batty is based on in it, and he's fucking scary as shit.
Yeah,
because he has that neurological disease that he doesn't feel pain.
Okay.
And we also discovered that Holden is still alive and moving around. And it's I think he's referenced as being an actual replicant or android.
Holden?
Yeah, Holden. He was the guy that was shot at the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm saying Holden was referenced as a replicant.
Yeah, he's in it too. It's an interesting read, the first sequel. I didn't like the other books, but the first one, Blade Runner 2, was actually interesting. J.F. Sebastian didn't die, and he's more of a mixture of John Isidore from the book. Okay. He runs a pet store or no, it's a veterinary clinic in the sequel book. It's really, really strange. But anyway, check them out. They're still available on Amazon. Blade Runner 2, 3, and 4. I think there were 3 sequels. And then the Westwood game is amazing.
It was good.
It was produced and really put out by David Yorkin, who's a friend of mine. That's Bud Yorkin's son. Okay. Really nice guy. I want to get him on here to kind of talk about all the bad rep that his dad got over Blade Runner and kind of get it out there and let him tell his side of it. But he had a bitch of a time with the Blade Runner partner. His own dad had a bitch of a time getting that game made. Finally got the rights, went to Westwood and made really one of the most innovative games of its kind.
And you can still get it on GOG, I think.
Yep. They offer it, and they're still trying to figure out how to release the special edition. They ran into some syncing issues with the animation and everything, and it just wasn't working the way they wanted to. The re-release special edition, which would have upgraded art and graphics. Now, it also won an Academy Award for video games that year, 1997. It was just astounding. Because of Blade Zone, I got a free copy in the mail. They sent it to me immediately, and I played it. We wrote a review, and I interviewed almost everybody on the cast of the game. It was really, I fucking love that game.
Yeah,
and I still play it.
And they brought back a lot of the cast for that game too, because I know James Hong did the voice again.
Hong was there, and because of us, they were able to get a hold of Turkel because
Turkel was in there,
and Gary Willoughby and I. And of course, they had our good friend Bill Sanderson, which I'm trying to figure out how to get him on the show. They are technologically challenged there in Pennsylvania because that's where he retired to, is Pennsylvania farmland. He loves it out there. I make toys. They're my friends. And he's so much of him.
My friends are toys. I make them.
He is really J.F. Sebastian. That character is really kind of loosely him all the way because he's got a very sweet demeanor. He's just awesome.
Home again.
Yeah, it's like it was so funny the first time I met him. He's like, I tried to give him my book and he wouldn't take it. He says, "No, I got to buy it, and then I want you to autograph it for me." And I'm like,
"Wow,
okay,
nice."
He's just one of those people, very down to earth. His wife is amazing, Sharon. And she's one of those people, I've talked about this before, that many of these actors don't know how to self-protect, so their wives become the gateway to get a hold of them.
Right.
And I like that because she keeps him from doing stuff because he would just give shit away.
Right.
You know, and she's like, "Oh, honey, no, we're selling that on eBay.
He's managing it. Yeah.
We're not going to give that away." Oh, it's not important. Nobody really wants it. That's what he thinks. It's not important. It's nobody. It's like she's like she understands. She gets it. I love Sharon. She's awesome. But let's see. I'm surprised they didn't make more Blade Runner games because of the Blade Runner partnership, which was Tandem Entertainment. Bud Yorkin and Jerry Princhio. Norman Lear is the only member of Tandem that wasn't involved, and they were like Scrooge in coveted, tight-fisted. They kept a grip on Blade Runner, and they wanted to milk it for every dime. And like back in '98, Matchbox and Hot Wheels both approached us to find out about how to get. They wanted to make the spinners.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, we're going to tell you how to do it, but you're not going to do it. And they're like, why? I said, because they're going to want billions of fucking dollars from you to do it. And I'm exaggerating, but not really. And so the Matchbox came back to us. That's how I got my first free spinner. They made them, but only for people in the company.
Right.
And
Wow.
I got one of the spinners. It was really nice. It ended up being produced later as the laser spinner that was sold from Back to the Future, the black one.
Right. So they just got greedy and they killed
molds. They did it. But, you know, it's like the Blade Runner partnership has had a bad reputation, starting first with their relationship with Ridley Scott because they fired him multiple times. They hated him. There was personal animosity. I think it was Jerry Princhio's wife that had tried out for the movie. What was it called? Someone to Watch Over Me. And Ridley just snubbed her. And it got back to him, and he was fucking livid. And so a lot of hatred. Finally, that stuff got smoothed over thanks to the final cut. You know,
Trying to say that Hollywood is political.
It's socio-political. There's no question. Personal politics. It can get really fucking ugly out there with people. Everybody wants to think, oh, they must have loved each other. It was beautiful Hollywood. They love each other. Now, all the way back to the early days of film, there are people in film that worked together that fucking hated each other.
Yeah. Well, you have to. It's tough business.
And it's why because I started to move towards filmmaking early on. And then I worked with some actors and some people, production people, and I fucking hated every single one of them. I'm like, if I got to work with you fucking people, I don't want to do this. And that's when I went back to comics, where I can work by myself and not worry about idiots. But now I've met more actors and more production people who I like, and it's made me want to get back into working on film. And I went to film school for a reason. Jeez. But anyway, there's being protective, and then there's greed. Well, that's really what it kind of came down to. But I also think that it wasn't just greed, it was anger. There was a lot of anger in the partnership. And it's why we didn't get any real direct sequels, no special edition stuff early on. The only thing we got was that Blade Runner 2 book and its sequels, because they had no control over the publishing rights.
And they bungled the original release of the soundtrack. They went and got the New American Orchestra to do
New American Orchestra with what's his name? Ian from Frank Zappa's band. Ian Underwood.
Yeah, Ian Underwood. And the problem is it just didn't catch, that was one of the best scores ever, and it just didn't catch it at all.
Oh, no, it's just nowhere near it. And the partnership made a lot of mistakes. Warner made a few mistakes with it, but it was mostly the partnership because they had total control over it. And so when Blade Zone, we started working with Charlie Deslarica to push for things. It's really when it came alive was right around between 2000 and 2002. It really ramped up, and we finally got a green light to do the final cut. And the partnership was going to let Ridley do it. So it was obvious at this point that things had smoothed over a little bit.
Right. Interesting.
I'm not sure if it was feelings that got better or senility.
Or some combination there.
Or some combination thereof, yeah. But we got it, and it was amazing. Let's see. Why wasn't William Sanderson interviewed for the Dangerous Days documentary? He was the only living cast member who wasn't in it.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Was he retired?
You'll see a special thanks to me in the BBC production not BBC, I'm sorry, Channel 4 production of what was their documentary about Blade Runner, the making of it. Martin, I hate his last name because it sounds terrible, Commode. And he's big on the BBC
Mark
today.
Commode. Yeah.
He was the producer of it. He did the great Exorcist documentary too.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came to me to help him connect with all the actors. And he got Sanderson in there. He got almost everybody, including some of the Ridley. He got Ridley. He got the writers, both writers and the producer. Sadly, couldn't get Chernoweth because he was already passed away.
Yeah, he was
but I
very.
think he talked to his son. But we were able to get him a lot of the people that were involved with the film. That's why there's that really nice thank you to my help on that. He tried to get me on. I'm like, no, I don't want to be in it. You know, I just want to help you. I like doing that. But the Dangerous Days, I don't know why. It's an interesting one. If I can get Charlie to get on here, I'll ask him. I'd like to know, why wasn't William Sanderson? It could have been a time issue. That's why I wasn't on there. Gary was on there, Gary Willoughby, and they talked about Blade Zone a lot in the special features because we helped keep Blade Runner alive. You know, we pushed. You know, we didn't want to let Blade Runner die. And Gary Willoughby, God, I love him, and he watches this show. He knows I'm going to say nice shit about him because he's my friend. He said it to me back in '99, I think it was. He's like, hey, Gary, do you think that Blade Zone will make it all the way to 2019? Wouldn't that be interesting? I'd like that. That's how Gary talks. I love Gary.
That's great.
And fucking we made it. And I said it to him. I said, we fucking made it to 2019.
Yeah.
You know? And in fact, in the 2010s, I started Blade Zone on Facebook. And he's pretty much taken it over now that he understands social media better. He didn't understand that shit first. He's like, I don't understand how this thing works. But now he's a fucking beast on Facebook.
That's great.
Always posting on there. And
Now,
Dust Wolfen, hey,
Blade Runner is a period piece.
let us know in the chat how you're doing, because I know you went to the ER. Are you feeling better? I know that he got hit with the COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's a personal friend of Keith's and mine in real life too, not just on here.
Oh, well,
And I'm just
heal up.
Okay. And I'll wait for his answer, but we can keep talking. Were there any other ones I missed? Oh, of course, I'm not excited by the I like the short films that was made for 2049.
Yeah.
I liked them. I
Yeah.
liked them.
Ridley's son did one of those, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And I actually like his kids as filmmakers. They're really good.
Yeah.
And that show, Raised by Wolves, is a family venture. I
Yeah.
love that fucking
Yeah.
show.
It looks great.
It's a good return to science fiction for Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's this? Not me. Oh, I'm sorry, Dust Wolf. I thought you were. For some reason, I thought you were Webb, Jacob Webb. Well, either way it goes, we love you anyway, Dust Wolf.
Well, we're
Dust
glad you
Wolf.
don't have COVID.
Yeah. Well, then I always thought Dust Wolfen was my friend Jacob Webb. Fucking little. There you go. But anyway, oh, you're John. Well, I know John too. I know John Schmidt. He's not to be mistaken with Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
I knew he was going there.
Different one. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know I'm silly. But for being a dick, I am silly.
Yeah, I'm not super duper enthused about Black Lotus. It looks good.
It looks. I don't like
but
it. It looks. I'm totally disappointed. I was expecting more of what they did with the Blackout, Blade Runner Blackout. That was one of the short films.
Mhm.
Instead, we get this crap. And look, I don't like sociopolitics. And when I feel that I'm having sociopolitics shoved down my throat, my body rejects it. I can't help it. I can't help it.
Well,
It's
when I
just
say
like if I drink syrup of Ipecac, I'm going to throw up.
well, when I
Because
say
that's
I
what it's
don't,
designed to do.
when I say I like the way it looks, I mean like I like the visuals, but
you like
you
a
know.
lot of that stuff, and I'm not busting your balls over it. No,
Yeah.
you're welcome to like it. I don't like it. I prefer a specific look, and I don't feel it fits the look of Blade Runner. And I'm sick to death of this pushing constantly to have nothing but female leads.
that I don't like. Yeah.
it
Yeah,
gets tiresome.
a
It's
lot.
like it becomes obvious that you're doing something rather than just letting it naturally flow. Like I wrote a script with a major female lead, but I also have males in there in major roles. I mix it up because I learned if you want to make a woman look strong, you need to have other people who are automatically identified as strong, usually male masculine lead roles.
Right.
And
So you show them interact. That's what Cameron did. It's what Ridley did. That's how his
You
female.
didn't make just weak men around them to make them look strong.
No, it's you got to show them interacting with strong males and standing their own ground in their own way. And these shows just get tiresome because they really present it in such a weak, dumb way.
And that's why the comic books that came out not too long ago were also kind of crap, because it was the similar, you know, strong female lead, strong female opponent, and weak men all around, if I remember right.
Right.
Yeah,
I would
so-
love to do a Blade Runner type film or an anthology or something in that world, and I would love to do it much more like a real, you know, noir detective, or at least a something drenched in that aesthetic, and have a male lead character in it, but also, you know, play around in the edges of that world. I would like to do something that feels more like the original Blade Runner than where they're going now. You know, I feel like the updates to it, if I have to make a period film now, because that was 2019, you know, because Blade Runner is a period film, I would do a period noir sci-fi follow-up to Blade Runner, and I think my film would be much more comfortable in like Double Indemnity meets cyberpunk. You know, that for me would be fun to play around with, where, you know, a replicant pays another replicant to retire them, and then you have to find out what happened and who did what. I would love to do a noir that way, you know, a sci-fi noir. I think I'm ready to do it. Is somebody just would need to write me a check.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well, cyberpunk is hot right now, so
It is. It is.
yeah, and I wrote a prequel story for Blade Runner back in the 90s called Solstice that talks about why he quit Deckard. And people have read it and they're like, dude, this needs to be a little film. And I'm like, I actually considered making it with a couple of my friends that are CG artists up in Canada that are big Blade Runner fans. And we've talked about it even as late as last year, and about doing a short animated film.
Nice.
And I designed what Deckard, all of them would look different. They wouldn't look like humans, normal humans. They would look like exaggerated versions of themselves. And it would have spinners in it and everything, but early spinners. And it would talk about the early days of the Nexus program. And so I wrote it as a short story, and then wrote it as a script, and everybody that's read it was like, that's fucking cool. And I said, but I can't make any money on it. That's the problem.
Yeah. It would be a very expensive fan film. Yeah.
Now I could crowdfund to make it, but I can't make a profit off of it.
Right.
Every penny be accounted for.
It would be a business card. Yeah. At that point, it's a business card.
And so a female character can be strong in ways other than a bench press. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at
strong of character.
Terminator.
Yeah.
She was a tiny girl in that film. And I think the weirdest moment for me in that film is when she yells at Michael Biehn, telling him, "Get up, soldier." Yeah. I'm like, I would have, as a male, I would have looked there and went, I'm going to get up, but not because you just yelled at me.
We're going to stop this right here.
Yeah, it's just, that didn't work. But everything else with her character, she stood her ground. She fought that thing. She survived, you know, and then
she loved him. She didn't dislike males. Like, part of, I think, why she even yelled "Get up, soldier" is hoping he would respond to it. Is this character was allowed to love a man, to be a female in that classic sense, but also be strong. You know, she didn't have to do better than him. Yeah.
It's the failure of this last film where it rejects all of that.
Right. They don't like each other. They don't like anything. Yeah.
They don't like anything that's male.
Yeah.
Anything masculine has to die.
Right.
And it just gets tiresome. It just gets tiresome. You know, the anti-masculine, well, it's also anti-feminine.
Yeah.
It's anti-femininity. They want all men to be emasculated and all women to be masculinized.
Right. as if masculine traits are toxic, and yet those are the very desirable traits you want females to have.
Yeah.
Weird logic. And also has the really stupid idea that somehow femininity is weak. You know, which is like, no, women are strong. They give birth. They nurture the home. There's so many feminine things that are strong. You know, femininity civilized the West.
Yeah, I got to tell you also, like with me, my sisters raised me.
Yeah.
I had
They're
brothers. One
Yeah.
brother left for Vietnam and really didn't live with us anymore. I had one brother. I love him, but I didn't like him as a kid. I hated him. He was just a horrible big brother. And then I had one big brother that I was close to. And so the women had the strongest impact on me as a person, my sisters. And so I had from a very early age, because I'm not a feminist. I don't believe men can be feminists. But I had a feminist understanding. I understood strong women. I understood women's rights. I love working with women who are my bosses.
Yeah.
I've had
See, that's not unique to feminism either. None of the things you described do you need to be feminist to believe that women are worthwhile.
And in fact, I call bullshit on guys that say they are feminists. I'm like, no, you are a fucking predator pretending to be
exactly. Look out for the ones that pretend to be feminists, because those are the ones that are pretending to be betas so that they can get close and prey on.
It's fucking ridiculous. Because you look at Cameron is one of the worst. He was a horrible womanizer. I'm surprised after the shit he pulled that his ex would work with him again.
Because she knew he was talented. Yeah. He's crazy talented. Yeah.
You know, he was a notorious womanizer. Oh, hey, Keith finally showed up. There we go. Oh, Keith.
Hello.
What's up, brother?
Hey, Keith.
Hello.
This has been a really, really long day for me. Oh, yeah. Anyway, hello, everyone. I am so sorry I'm late.
You're here for the closing credits.
Roll credits.
We're actually running long, I think. So
yeah, it's been a good show, despite only being three of us. Well, two of us for a while, and then three of us, and now four.
That's right.
But I really want. Oh, hold on, Monkey G was saying hi.
Hello, Monkey.
And what is this? They got mad at you if you say you are not. Yeah, it's dumb. For women to expect me to be a feminist, I think is dumb. It's like I said, look, I don't expect women to be masculinists, and I don't expect men to be feminists. Right. You know, I love it when they support men, and I love it when men support women. I've always supported women in the workplace being equal in pay for the job. And but when I hear this equivalence in pay, I'm always reminded, look, there are jobs women refuse to do. And that's one of the greatest impacts is there are jobs women just don't go for. They're not interested.
That's their right if they don't want to do it.
They don't want to do it. And so
it
throws the balance off.
Yeah, I support women and love women. And I think the very notion that femininity is any weaker or not as desirable.
Femininity is like so necessary because it's what
makes
life better for. It's sort of like when I'm talking politics with somebody, I said, why am I a big supporter of Democrats when I'm conservative? Because they're the thing that keeps us in balance. Right. Because if it was just a bunch of conservatives, this would be an intolerable fucking world. Right. I like having balance. You know, because the arts come from a liberal mindset. Right. No matter what people say. You know, it's like, I'm conservative, but I'm very creative. Yeah.
If only current Hollywood would understand that, because corporate Hollywood
never understand it, brother.
Corporate Hollywood right now is just killing it faster, and what we've seen this week just is more of it. You know, it blows my mind.
Mr. Tickle Trunk is here, by the way. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Mr. Tickle Trunk.
He finally showed up.
Always a pleasure.
And
start over. No,
we can do the fast forward.
And there we go.
I agree with you, Keith. I believe Hollywood doesn't understand that they can make entertainment for everybody. They can be evergreen entertainment. That all ideas, true diversity, if I may, is even
diversity of thought.
Yeah, Yeah, and
You can't have true diversity without diversity.
yeah,
of
you
thought.
can't pigeonhole anybody. You can't say, well, you're this person and you look like this, so you need to think like that. It's like,
Oh,
no.
somebody likes you there, Tom.
Hey, Mr. Tickle Trunks. He's always great. He's so supportive. And,
He cracks me up.
he
I
actually puts his money
love
where
our
his mouth
chat.
is. He really supports the arts. I appreciate it.
You know, the unfortunate thing about corporate Hollywood today is the fact that it's the fact that in the history, Hollywood's never really been the best place as far as getting into supporting and actually making real science fiction.
Right.
Okay. And
not Marvel sci-fi. So that's how multiverses work, huh? I guess college was full of shit.
But if you take some of the greatest science fiction novels written just within the 20th century, you are talking diverse thought, diverse points of view. Some of it may not have been the most politically correct stuff written at that time, but a lot of them, what they had going for them was great characterization, which we're missing a lot of right now. Some original plot lines, very memorable settings for many for a lot of what was presented. We can't really have that now because almost everything goes through a process, as everyone knows in Hollywood, that pretty much wrings a lot of the originality out of whatever is presented and in favor of something that's a little more known, which is just a roundabout, long-winded way of saying, they just beat the originality out of something until it becomes something that we've seen before.
Yeah, it's like because Arthur C. Clarke is like one of my favorite sci-fi authors of all time.
Yeah.
And the guy was a fucking scientist, engineer, and was involved with our first satellite.
Yeah.
And one of the first things he ever wrote, I'm a fan of, became 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is The Sentinel, the short story. And I mean, my God, that filled my head when I was younger reading that.
Interesting fact: The Sentinel was written after the movie.
No, The Sentinel was written in 1951.
Oh, okay. Well, then what he wrote a book after 2001.
The book, Arthur C. Clarke's version of 2001
was after the movie.
Based on the shooting script, which is why it has,
right.
My God, it's full of stars.
Right.
And because that was not the shooting script, the first script, not the shooting script.
Right.
The shooting script had that taken out, but he'd already written the book.
He'd already written the book and it came out.
And then, of course, he wrote several book sequels, which became like 2010, an Odyssey 2, which became a really good film. I liked
2010 a lot.
One of the few films by that director that I don't make fun of.
Peter Hyams.
And Peter Hyams is, I love his stuff. Outland, fucking love it. But how old was I when that came out? 16, I think. I was 16 when that came out. And my dad was like, will you shut up? Because I kept complaining about it. I said, lividity. I knew about lividity as a teen. I'm like, blood pools. Even in space, on a moon like that with 1/60 Earth's gravity, the blood would still pool in the body. So you can't stick a syringe in the neck and pull drop blood out. It's all on the guy's back. You can't use shotguns in space. It's not just going to shoot projectiles. It's going to projectile you back. It's like a rocket in your hand. Just so many of the things in that the exploding thing. Because even in school, I knew at that age, I knew
High
that
Noon.
was
Yeah, he was trying to make High Noon in space, and he didn't quite.
That's all it was. It really was High Noon in space. It's still one of my favorite fucking movies because Connery makes everything great.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
but I would also say that having something like, say, this E. Doc Smith's.
I love that book. I love that book.
Yeah, this is the first part of Lindsman. This is not the greatest thing ever written, but compared to a lot of stuff that Hollywood's doing now,
I'll tell you, I have all of those on my shelf in my wish list of when I get money here in Hollywood, that would be something I would make.
Right. Because it would be.
I have a whole shelf of sci-fi books that I would do. There's some David Brin books, Jack Smith, all kinds of books that I would love to to do.
I just read
And
this one book from Philip K. Dick that I think would make a great movie. It's called "We Can Remember It For You Wholesale."
Yep. Gee, that Total Recall?
Speaking of that,
I'm just a big fan of going out and just with novels, just with books that have already been written that are sitting on various people's shelves would do a lot. A lot of this stuff wouldn't even really have to be expensive. Where we are, technology-wise, right now, you could use really cheap methods to bring a lot of this stuff to life. When you watch, like, say, the Dust videos on YouTube, a lot of that stuff is just amazing looking. It is much cheaper than a lot of the films that are being made, with budgets of 150, 200.
Well, this is the corporate Hollywood that you and I complain about all the time that's doing this shit.
Yeah.
There's actually a Philip K. Dick story that I have wanted to adapt since I first read it as a teenager. Here, I'll just pull it up here and put it onto the thing. Show you guys. It's this fantastic freaking sci-fi story, and it's called Time Out of Joint, which uses a lot of, because he had mental illness and was on a lot of medication, and a lot of his mental illness went into his stories. And one of my favorites is this one. I'm trying to find the damn picture. Where's it at? Let me show it to you guys. There it is. Time Out of Joint. And it's this brilliant sci-fi story that it went behind you guys like a dumbass. I don't know how to do this shit. Fucking 6 left me. Now I can't do shit. Oh, I'm fucking.
But apparently she's watching us.
Yes, I know. That's why I said it. There we go. And the basic premise is it takes place like right around 1959, 1960. Eisenhower is still president, Marilyn Monroe's alive, and he wrote this, I think, right after her death. And it's this world is stuck in 1959, basically. And he begins to question his reality when he goes in, and I've had this happen to me. Go into a bathroom and you reach for a light switch, but there's no light switch there. And you're like, why the fuck did I reach for a light switch there? Or reach for a chain to pull down for a light, and you like bump your hand and you realize, oh, there's a light switch. And that's something that happens with this character. And he starts to believe that something's going on, that his world keeps changing when he wakes up. It's different, just a little different each time. Mm-hmm. And he makes his entire living solving puzzles in a newspaper. And he always wins. He always wins the money because he solves the puzzle before anybody else can. And there are all these planes flying over, and then him and his little nephew make a radio, crystal radio, and start listening to these planes. And come to find out, they live in an apocalyptic world, and he is in a pocket of this fake world. And all it was designed for was to keep him solving these puzzles, because the puzzles are actually codes that stop the rockets coming in from Mars, from humans that live on Mars or with us.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's actually like 50 years past that, or 40 years. It's like in the 1990s, I think. And it's just fucking crazy story.
You mean that's like Matrix before the Matrix?
And he decides to escape. He wants out. And so does his, because a lot of the people in his family and people that he knows are unaware that they're in a fake world too. They're not acting. They think that this is the world they live in. All of it's for him. And there was inspirations clearly stolen with that Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah. Cue the Genesis music, Land of Confusion.
Yes.
I also would put up that they should go ahead and get to David Weber and do the Honor Harrington books, either as a television series or at least adapt one as a film.
Yes, because I have that on my wish list thing as well. It's sitting on my shelf right now.
I also highly recommend get this book, dude. Tom.
I will. You sold me on it. In fact, I was writing it. The reason I turned my camera on was I was writing down what you were doing. because I'm like,
I don't want to tell you the ending.
there are some books that I want to make, but here's the thing: my writing manager says, no, nobody's buying science fiction right now unless it's Star Wars or Star Trek or an existing thing. And I'm like, okay, because I just wrote this script with a guy named Jude. We wrote this script called Switch, which is a science fiction about, what does that switch do in your house? That one that never seems to turn the light on? What if it actually did do something? And it's about this girl's journey with her father and their next door neighbors. They drop through these different alternate Earths that present themselves as alternate, but a turn left or right, the world would be different. We perceive things different. The world would have gone a different way. And she needs to find out the pieces of that puzzle to get back to her home and restore her own reality through this switch. She's literally switching her life with someone else. And
Cool.
it's a great idea. And it's not Star Trek or Star Wars, so I can't get anybody to read it.
Wow.
Now, I've got a science fiction series that I've been working on of 3 stories.
Yeah.
Basically called Isolation, which
Mhm.
deals with the space seed war, which is seeds were sent to Earth that got buried, and now they're starting to get exposed to elements, and we're seeing fucked up shit happening. A lot of weird shit with creatures, animals that feed on it.
Nice.
And I've got one script written, and it's half done as a graphic novel.
Okay.
Richard Bonk's the artist. I'm the writer. He's the artist. And
I'd love to read that.
Sleepers is another one I came up with and co-wrote with a buddy of mine that deals with a huge terrorist act takes place that puts mankind back into the 80s, basically, technologically. First, nuclear devices are set off on weather balloons, followed immediately by weather balloons with biologicals all around the planet.
Okay.
And 70% of the human population is dead within a month. And everything falls apart, and corporations step up to be the new version of government. And these soldiers that were sent out by the UN to stop these terrorists don't find anybody, but instead are trapped in all these Africa and in South America, unable to get back home. The corporations step forward, bring them back. As they're coming off the ship, if they have specialized skills, they're invited to become part of a new program set up by the corporation in the United States called Sleepers. And they're given a chemical that allows them to be put in stasis for long periods of time and only brought out when they're needed. And they're kept in geosynchronous orbit and dropped on drop ships whenever they have to. And I think my tagline was something akin to a new meaning to hostile takeover. But the main characters are put to sleep after a major battle and the first retirement of one of the guys. They get their bag of gold, whatever they're supposed to get when they retire. And they're like, "Yay, first guy retired. Let's go to sleep." When they wake up, it's 50 years later, and they're falling out of orbit. They're awakened by the system because they're falling. And so they crash land, they get to Earth, and they find that there are all these fucking weird-looking locust-like creatures all over the place that took over, and humans are slaves, whatever humans are left.
Right.
And so they got to fight for the survival. Now they don't get their bag of gold in their land like the classic Roman centurion. Now they're fighting for humanity. And so I shift their interest, in the story. And by the end, I can't tell you how it ends because it's even more fucked up. That goes all the way back to Roswell.
Oh, wow. I would like to read that if I may.
To a psychopath accidentally killing the first aliens that ever crashed on Earth. That led to this whole thing happening.
That's great.
And I can't tell you any more than that. And it's called Sleepers.
Okay.
And I have I don't know. Did you ever know about that story, Keith?
No, you never told me that. I'm sitting here going, how does it end?
I'll tell you after we get off the air. I don't.
No, you don't have to tell me. Just look, dude. No matter what happens, we got
the first chapter is already drawn by another artist friend of mine, and because I wanted to focus on writing rather than just doing the artwork.
Dude, that would be so much fun to actually make.
Yeah,
I mean that would just be that'd be the cat's meow to actually just make that, even if it's just a 5-minute short that takes place around that story that you could use as some sort of a way of getting some interest out there.
It sounds great. I'd love to read it.
See, you guys come up with these really cool plots. I come up with something that was just, more or less like a Twilight Zone type plotting.
It's
Yeah.
My big thing is character-driven stories. I like my characters to be interesting. And this is a complaint. And I really want to see your reaction to this, Tom, because I have a lot of friends who are big Quentin Tarantino fans, and I make fun of Quentin Tarantino because that dude writes amazingly fun dialogue, but he doesn't understand story structure. And it frustrates the shit out of me when I'm watching one of his stories and I'm like, where the fuck is he going now? Because it's like his first act is always like fucking on mark, man. Then he gets that second act and it's like he's meandering all over the fucking place. And then third act, we bring in something new that is not even part of the first act. It's like, what are you doing? And he tries to make it, well, man, like I like art noir kind of filmmaking, man. And like, man, I understand. No, you don't understand story.
It's like
I know story structure.
I think his process. I met him briefly before he was Quentin Tarantino. He worked at a video store in Hermosa Beach, and a friend of mine lived down there. We would go down there, and he would be watching Hong Kong cinema, sitting there doing it. I actually have a picture of him behind the counter somewhere when he was a kid. And I think he writes dialogue without having the structure outlined. I think what he does,
because his dialogue often is
the dialogue is
any character can deliver a lot of his dialogue.
Exactly, and I think the problem, the strength is his dialogue, and the problem is that the dialogue is driving everything. I feel like he doesn't have the kind of discipline to discipline a structure on something that it's part of a larger conversation, and by the second act, you're kind of like
very ADD.
I'm bored with that. Now I'm going to have something else happen, and he loves to listen in on things, but not necessarily with.
One of the worst things he ever did, the greatest sin I think he ever did, and I'm not even going to talk about how annoying it was for me to make a heist movie without the heist. That's not clever. That is not clever. He thinks it's clever. It's
subversion of expectations.
Yeah. He basically stole from 2 films, not homages. He stole directly from 2 films, heist films, one from China and the other one from the 1950s by Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
Called The Killing.
The Killing,
And both of those films that he stole from had great heist scenes. And he just says, fuck it, I'm just going to leave it out and just steal the rest from there.
Because he was nervous. He probably was like, I better leave the heist out. Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't understand the difference between stealing and homage.
Quentin always reminds me.
That doesn't mean I don't enjoy his movies, because I do.
Right.
I enjoy his films. And his last film is one of my favorite films, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right.
Why? Because at least when he introduced a narrator in the third act, it made sense. It was one of the characters you actually knew. Not his voice suddenly just like it was like director commentary in the Hateful Eight. I'm like, why are we getting Quentin Tarantino in this? Is this director? Did I accidentally click the wrong thing? I was so fucking annoyed with him on that one. I got so angry I wanted to punch him.
No one around to say babies.
I love babies.
He sometimes with his dialogue and sometimes with his movies, I always say it reminds me of a band where the drummer writes the lyrics. It's sort of like there's no structure or melody
like this all the time.
Why is it always? Yeah, why are you doing this? It's like the drummer's writing the lyrics in this band.
Because I'm a drummer, and I got to tell you, I had to sing a few times in bands I was in, and I said, I don't do complicated drumming when I have to sing.
You can't. That's my point. You can't. When a dialogue is that complicated, he can't get into story.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, Tickle Trunk, is he doesn't understand the difference between homage and absolute outright theft. And people let him get away with it because they're foreign films most of the time, or older.
Not a ripoff, it's an homage. Yeah.
And it's like
homage.
An homage is something that somebody that knows their shit catches.
Right.
If you're sitting there watching that movie and I go, wait a minute, this is just The Killing, or that Cho, or the Chinese
Chow Yun Fat.
Yeah, Chow Yun Fat
Chow
film.
Yun-fat film. Yeah,
Where they point the guns at each other.
yeah.
I'm like,
the,
that's
the
just
killer.
straight out of the fucking movie.
Yeah, yeah. Better Tomorrow and The Killer. He used to watch all the time at Hermosa Beach.
Yeah, and I'm a fucking fan too, but you don't see me throwing that in there.
No, and I mean, it would be as disingenuous as if when I did my features, you know, like Trouble comes out and you're like, that's the Maltese Falcon. Like, literally, there's a bird in it, you know? Yeah.
Klaus Wolf, and you're not in a minority. I think he is overrated for his early work. I think his best work is his latter stuff, even though I'm not a fan of the writing or the logic behind Inglourious Bastards, because I'm like, no, let me explain something to you.
Revisionist.
Scalping is the worst torture to leave somebody with alive, not carving a swastika in their forehead. They can surgically have that changed. If you're scalped, that's going to leave a fucked up scar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your logic doesn't work, my friend. But I will tell you this, the opening scene of that film by itself was one of the single best fucking short films I have ever fucking seen.
Yeah. If it had ended right there, it would have been perfect.
That would have, oh my God. I was absolutely on pins and needles going, oh my God, he's going to kill the Jewish family.
Yeah,
you know, and
it's impossible to sustain that kind of tension. You have to have more beyond it to make it work. That's why it would work as a short. You know, and Christoph is so great.
It really is a short film. That opening scene is by itself just a standalone story. The rest of the film is kind of like a sequel.
You could say the same thing about the opening of Up. Of course, it's
God, that kills me
because
every
it's
time.
its own thing. Yeah, it's its own story, and I fucking
it's
love
an entire story told in. I mean that thing is better than just most films that have come out in the last 20 years. The opening of Up is just
devastating.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Mr.
It's such a good movie.
There is something about that film that I like, The Hateful Eight, and it's the fact that Kurt Russell is in it, and I fucking worship Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, Kurt Russell.
He's a god. He is a god. Don't fucking fight me on it. He's got integrity.
No, who would fight you on that? Who would fight you?
But it's also.
You know what? Here's what I don't understand about Hateful Eight, though. Here's what I don't understand about it. He pushes to shoot in wide format 70 millimeter, and then a Hateful Eight is all inside. It's all inside a cabin. That's like saying I'm going to do Lawrence of Arabia in Cinerama, but it's all in the tent.
It's fucking.
Why? It drove me bananas. It's like you had all this great real estate. If you had given me that, like I struggled to get, anamorphic in a film that I do. You give me 70 millimeter and then I shoot everything on the sofa. I just didn't understand that, it's widescreen. Look at all the thing. And then it's interiors. I didn't get it. That's just
now to go back
as a filmmaker, that drives me bananas.
It is an homage to The Thing.
Sure.
Which is why I think it's great that, but in doing so, it is also an homage to Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, because The Thing was John Carpenter's version of, that's why it ended the way it did.
Yeah.
Because if you read the book And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, nobody lived.
Right.
They all fucking died. And that's sort of what you're left with at the end of Hateful Eight, is that these guys probably aren't going to survive. They're both going to die.
It was like a filmed play.
Yeah, and I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed the character portrayals. I loved the acting. It had a stage act presence to it.
It was like a film.
But once again, why did he went 70 millimeter when you're going to do a stage play? Because that's all it was. It's a
I don't get that.
Ship in a bottle. It's a ship in a bottle or a bottle episode. Where it's all one location. Also, do not introduce a major character. First rule of screenwriting: don't introduce a main character or a major character after the first act.
Right.
Well, I mean, that
past your 20-page mark, you should have introduced
a bit of a red herring.
Main characters.
Yeah.
The entire. I was just going to say the entire Lionel Twain rant in the third act of Murder by Death pretty much singles out everything you're not supposed to do. I mean, exactly to what that character tells you, you could be pretty good. But his entire rant was like, this drives us nuts when you do this and this and this, and when you do this. And
yes.
And by the way, Zach's Bone Tomahawk is a an amazing fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yes,
I love
like
it. It's
that.
by the
Yeah, it
dude
was.
Dragged Across Concrete. I fucking love his movies.
I
That
love
dude
his
is
movie.
not afraid to make movies about men acting like what they
Yes.
fucking are.
What's the one the brawl on Cell Block? What's the name of that?
Oh
That
yeah,
ending of that
that's a
fucking
good one.
movie. The
That
ending of
was
that movie
amazingly
absolutely
good.
did not look real, but I didn't care. What a fucking ending.
Yeah. I was amazed by that movie. That was a little movie, not a lot of money, but wow, it was just I was
complete
I was
indie
dialed
film.
in.
And
Yeah.
I've been a fan of I forget his name now, the star of the film.
Vincent Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn is fucking awesome. I fucking love that dude.
Yeah.
And I think that Hollywood shits on him all the time by not giving him more work. When that dude is good in a drama,
Yeah.
he's good in action, and he's good in comedy.
They don't
That
like
guy-
his politics though.
Yeah, that's the problem is they don't.
He's
if
not
they
left-wing
reject your
enough.
personal politics, your career goes in the dumpster.
That's what happened
know,
to him though. That is
You know,
what
he
happened.
started making his stuff with Owen Wilson, and yeah, they're fun, but he is such a better actor. Than
Yeah, he
that.
is. He's terrific. When I got started acting out here, Vince Vaughn and I got a lot of the same types of parts. We would audition, and I would run into him for guest star stuff in the late '90s and stuff before Jurassic, really took off with him. And super nice guy, great at. He happened to find the comedy path, playing kind of Bill Murray characters. But he's a great dramatic actor too, and he got pigeonholed really early. But Brawl in Cell Block 99 really shows his chops in other ways. Like he disappears in that. That's his Taxi Driver.
Yeah, I want to point out that Keith's brother is here, Kevin.
Whoa.
Hey.
Hey, Big K.
And it sucks. We're getting ready to wrap up too, and he just dropped in. Go back and watch the whole episode, man. I think you'll enjoy it.
I'll talk to you after I'm done here, Kay. See, that's the guy that should be on our show.
Yeah, I'd like to get Kevin on here, man. But I do want to point out that Vince Vaughn is known conservative, politically conservative, socially liberal. He's your typical Hollywood conservative.
Right.
Because I always laugh. I'm like, Stallone and Schwarzenegger are not true conservatives. I like that, except for I don't like their anti-gun stance because I'm a pro-gun dude. But Hollywood conservatives are just a different animal. And so when I see them, because they're typically socially very liberal.
Yes.
And yet they get rejected. I'm like, why?
Well, there used to be a balance though
liberal
in Hollywood. You had all the voices for a while, and now it's completely forget it.
I've actually, Mr. Tilko Trunk, I have a lot of liberal friends that are pro-gun, and or as I refer to them, true Americans. And it's like I told somebody, look, man, I like having the right that I have the right to own a gun and shoot you if I have to. I just don't want to. I don't own one. I've let them go, especially when I had my kids around. Because look, I'm the first one to admit, no matter how well trained my kids were, they were fucking idiots. And no matter how smart they were fucking idiots. And if I got to keep something locked up to the point where it's no use to me, why am I going to keep it around? So I kept a lot of stabby instruments, which I'm really good with knives. And Zoe knows, because she's seen me fight, and she's like, "No, my dad, he doesn't need a gun. If you're within 10 feet, you're in trouble." And
that's another thing we have in common.
Yeah, if I got a stabby instrument or a stick, you're fucked.
I'm more hands-on,
but hey. Cop buddy of mine got a broken hand from me because he wanted to test me out. Combat speed, full combat speed. He unloaded his Glock. This is up in Seattle. He unloaded his Glock, held it out, and he says, "Disarm me before I can pull the trigger." And I broke his hand with just a broken broomstick. I broke a broomstick, turned towards him. He lifted his handgun. I went back, cross strike like that, sent the gun flying across the room, scarred it up, and I broke his hand. And I'm like, "It was worth it. I told you I would do it." What's that line from that Gregory Peck movie, Burl Ives says, "I told you I'd do it. You didn't believe me." You didn't believe me. But that movie, The Big Country, is like one of my favorite fucking westerns of all time. And what I love about it is the gentleman's sentiment that I fight for me. I don't fight for you.
Yeah.
You know, and when he picks his fight and goes and meets Charlton Heston before he's about to split, he calls him out there. He goes, thought I can't remember the line. I thought I'd come by and say bye to you. He goes, oh, Heston's like, well, let's go on outside. And they have a 10 fucking minute fight, one of the single longest fight scenes in the history of cinema.
Yeah, that's right.
But Wyler's so brilliant in the way he shot that. Most of it was in 70 millimeter, way back. And
he did way back.
Tiny ants fighting out in this.
Yeah, and you feel the whole environment that they're in. Yeah,
they're swallowed up by it. You know, showing how small a fucking petty thing it is.
Yeah, it's symbolic. Yeah,
and then at the end of the fight, they're laying there. They're both exhausted. Heston delivers one of my favorite lines of all time. You should take a long time to say goodbye.
Take a long time to
fucking great movie, man. If you've never seen that movie, folks in the chat,
that's Big Country.
The Big Country. Gregory Peck, Charlton Heston, outstanding fucking movie about being your own person. Don't look at it as about being your own man, being your own person. Do things for you because it's your personal respect for yourself that matters, not what other people think of you. Fuck, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's worth a look.
Let's go through the chat real quick. Nobody 100% left, right. I'm also Canadian. I will never hold that against you, Mr. Tickler Trunk, because I love Canada.
I do.
Let's see. Your kids sound great. Yeah, they're fine. Well, you've seen Ben, Mr. Tickler Trunk. He was on the show, and I'm trying to get Zoe to come on here. I don't think my middle child will ever come on, but my youngest and my eldest will both have been on here.
We're eventually going to get every member of Gary's family on the show at some point.
I love my kids. They're so fun, and they've got my fucking weird sense of humor, and they're all smart asses, every single one of them. See, Kevin. Oh, Vancouver. Okay. All I can think of is that line from Billy Jack. I'm going to kick you. He's standing right up to the guy's face. He said, I'm going to kick you on that side of your face with this foot. And you know what? It's not a damn thing you can do about it. And then he fucking does that spinning kick, swipes him across the face and knocks him on the ground. That was a great movie.
Yeah.
Shot for $50,000.
Yeah. It's self-financed. That was an indie film that just knocked
out. His wife, who's in it, she's the lead female in it. Never acted before. I don't think she could act worth a shit, but she got nominated for that because of her performance.
Yeah, that's right.
It was so natural and real. It was almost like a documentary, a lot of it.
Yeah.
And Martin Mull was in it. That was his first movie.
That's right.
Johnny Fever.
You know,
not Martin Mull. Johnny Fever. What's his name? I forgot his name.
I know what you mean.
Howard Hessman.
Howard Hessman.
But for me, a great film with a lot of really good stuff that I can think about quoting is Extreme Prejudice. Nick Nolte's movie.
Yeah.
Oh God, that movie!
Great film. That final. Oh my God, that final battle. I believe religiously that movie is a sidequel to Chuck Norris's movie that came out in '83.
Really?
Lone Wolf McQuade?
Lone Wolf McQuade, because those movies really remind me of each other with the villains and all that shit that went down. I fucking love both those movies for the exact same reasons.
No, you guys are going to talk about quotable movies. We cannot forget, we can't forget Tombstone. Come on now.
Yeah,
Tombstone
is performance in that film.
Yeah,
is one of the greatest Western performances in the history of
ever.
Cinema.
Yeah,
and,
I respect that movie a lot, but I like Kevin Costner's movie a little bit better.
Wider, more accurate.
It was more accurate, and Dennis Quaid's performance is miles
more
above,
accurate to who
it
the
is
real.
Extremely accurate and fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Hey, I'm a historian, so I will vouch for the historical accuracy, but I don't care. Tombstone is a fucking great film.
No, you're look. We both agree. I just think Wyatt Earp's better.
Yeah, I have them both. So
I love the ending of Wyatt Earp because that kid walks up to him on that boat with her and tells a story about how he saved him, and then he actually says how he remembered it, and it's just the ending. I'm like, that was a great fucking movie. But that was a thinking man film. Whereas
very much so. That was a grown-up movie.
is an action film, really, an action Western. That this is it. This is the thing that had more of the spirit of the Old West.
Right.
And whereas Wyatt Earp was not, it's more of a biopic. It's really
It was a
good.
drama versus a action.
Yeah, an action film.
Yeah.
And Cosmatos, even though he didn't direct the whole film. Kurt Russell apparently did a lot of the direction. Val Kilmer has confirmed that he was there directing a lot of it. I don't doubt it for a second.
Nope.
But Val Kilmer's, oh my God, there's lines like, what is that character?
Down
Stallone's
by the creek,
brother.
walking on water.
Stallone's brother is why. If I thought you was cross with me, I don't think
I just don't think I could bear it.
Oh, bear it. Yeah, it's just great fucking lines. And the scene that's only in the special cut, where he turns to Big Nose Kate. He says, "No last words to you, man." I guess not. Just rides off, and I'm like, "What a great line!"
It is, but I love
I'm your Huckleberry. Yes,
because what?
All right. Well, if you're gonna talk a historically accurate, really good Western, check out The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Actually, that's a good film. No, I'm pointing at it because I wanted you to see it, Keith. That's what I was quoting.
Oh yeah, I know. But I mean, I like the fact that it's mispronounced. So,
I don't. What are you talking about? At the
huckleberry. Do you know what a huckleberry is?
No, Curtis is saying something.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that's over the top at all. He just gets for the first time. He gets fucking angry. And no, I like that scene a lot, and it kind of happened that way. He's the only member of his team that never got shot. Not Kurt Russell, but Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp is the only one went through each one of those gunfights never having been shot.
And it is true historically that Wyatt Earp did pretty much cut Curly Bill Brocious in half with his fucking shotgun.
Yep, right in the water. I thought that was really good. The only fiction is Johnny Ringo, because Johnny Ringo, I still believe, committed suicide. And at the time he died, what's his name? Doc Holliday was up in Colorado at the
Asylum.
Yeah.
Sanitarium.
The sanatorium. And, convalescing till his death.
Yeah.
And no, Wyatt never visited him or wrote that book, but I fucking love that ending, dude.
Well, that's I love that story. I also like Sunset, because I could actually.
People don't know what you're talking about.
Sunset was Bruce Willis.
Yes,
Bruce Willis and James Garner as an aging Wyatt Earp during the early days of Hollywood. The character that Malcolm plays.
McDowell. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Malcolm McDowell plays is loosely based on Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Mixed a little bit with what's his name? The rich guy in California. The
Howard Hughes.
Not Howard Hughes. In those days, before Howard Hughes really got big.
Getty or
Winchester.
The guy, the newspaper baron.
That was Getty.
Yeah.
No, not Getty.
No. The one who
Winchell.
The one that Citizen Kane was about. That one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Citizen Kane is based on him. God, I can't think of his name now. He's the one. He's the reason why Weed was
William Randolph Hearst.
Yeah, Hearst. So the character is kind of a mishmash because of the murder on the boat and all that shit. And because Charlie Chaplin was there, but he was not the one who killed the person. I believe to this day it was Hearst that killed that girl.
Yeah, if you've never seen Sunset, watch it because it's a movie.
Very good film. It's a great comedy.
Yeah, it's a great mystery, but it's also a really.
Who directed? You remember?
That's
Come on.
Hold on.
Favorite of ours.
I've seen his wife topless.
Blake Edwards.
Blake Edwards.
Yeah.
I've seen his wife too.
I've seen
her tits too. I saw that movie.
Talking about Bo Derek?
When she pulls
Julie Andrews.
SOB. Pulls her blouse off on SOB.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Great Blake Edwards film.
And she's at least at that time she had a nice pair. I have to, you
Hold
know.
up, man. I
Well
don't
done.
normally say something is yummy, but they were yummy.
But Sunset is one of those films that if you've never seen it, get set to have a good time. And if you know anything about Hollywood history, you're going to have an even better time watching
As
that
much
film.
as this is about Blade Runner, I love how we go off on a tangent talking about movies.
We
Yeah,
just love movies.
We've totally derailed.
Yeah, we went 20 minutes past. Well, actually, we went a full
Hour.
Yeah,
almost
but
an
it's
hour.
been a pleasure,
I don't know what I
guys.
went through. Yeah, this was
Absolute
fun
pleasure.
talking movies. God damn it.
We'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do it again next Saturday, but hopefully we'll try to stay on Blade Runner.
Yes.
We'll stick to
But
Blade
when
Runner.
you talk about the history of cinema with Blade Runner, you can't help but talk about the things that brought Blade Runner around. Because Metropolis is a film that not only inspired him enough that led him to buy the studio where they shot Judge Dredd with Stallone,
Mhm.
Right.
and told them that he will buy it if they leave all the sets.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to make a sequel to Blade Runner called Metropolis
Would
that
have
was
been it.
based off of a manga comic.
Yeah, would have been it.
And Mr. Tickle Trunk had to throw in a $3 sticker.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you, sir.
Tickle Trunk. Thank you.
You're
For
bomb diggity. For that I have to play you a special video. What am I going to play? I'll play you a snippet of this. 10 seconds worth.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion.
That's it. I don't want to get a claim.
Yeah, that you don't want me to cry on the air, do you?
One of the greatest scenes, and once again, wouldn't have happened the way it did if it weren't for Rutger Hauer.
Rutger
Yeah.
writing some poetry there.
I miss him.
Yep. And guys, go through our pop culture minefield and look for my video for Rutger Hauer. You'll enjoy it. I described my first phone call with him and the many times that, Blade Zone relied on him to help us with stuff, and he was always there for us.
Fantastic.
Just a wonderful, wonderful dude. Let's see. Anything good here, Mr. Chicken Gary? You tease. What about the rest of the movie?
Oh, I was gonna say,
I'd like to
Keith,
find a way to watch
Keith.
a movie with a group of people. I'd love
I
to
got-
do it.
I can watch
Keith,
for it.
you're gonna be happy, man.
What?
You're gonna be happy, Keith, because I actually got The Shadow with Alec Baldwin the other day and watched
Oh
it.
my God, great film.
Good
Yeah,
film,
we need to do a show on that one.
really good film.
Tom needs to get going. He has a life, I guess, outside of being on the show.
Tom, it's great seeing you, man.
Thank you,
Yeah, it
Keith. I
was.
It's always
appreciate it.
good to see you. You're great on the show. God, I love hanging out and talking with you.
Yeah, we're
Right?
I'd like to just go out to a bar sometime. I went to one in Hollywood that was really good. I went there
Yeah.
with actor Kurt Yeager
Uh-huh.
and my buddy Shane Moore, and we got hammered on Sunset Strip. And
Well, if you
almost
get out
ended
here,
in a
we'll have
bar fight, and I was so drunk I didn't even know it was a fight. I'm like, hey guys, why is everybody so
You know-
angry?
If we do that,
I will take you to
we got to
Casa
bring
Blanca.
our friend Tom Seymour with us.
There you go.
But, before you go, stay by so I can say bye to you at the end of the show. Stick around, chat. Thank you guys. What a great episode. I had so much fun. I love doing this, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. And with my standard outro, I will say good night.
Goodbye, Chocolate Mousse. I'll never forget you. Goodbye, Ducroix. Take care of yourself. Goodbye, Deja Vu. I'll always remember you. And I'll miss you most of all.